invitation link that is showing up on the YouTube and whatever. If you could grab it and throw it on to the Facebook and the Stack of the Sub and all the other places, that would be amazing and greatly appreciated. Good morning, Cheryl. Yeah, we listen. I want to talk about that, cats. Hey, Celia B. So obviously, you guys, I have to talk about what happened in Minnesota yesterday. And I'm going to talk about it maybe in a different way than some other folks are talking about it, and that's with intention. So I want to talk about some just harsh realities around what transpired yesterday, kind of the things that I am seeing that need to be addressed, or I feel like they need to be addressed, right? And so we're going to talk about every bit of that. So hope you guys are down with that. Hey, Shanna, what's up? Not too sure. Good morning, everybody. What's up to the other Lynn? I got a couple of Lynn's in here, a couple of Sarahs, a couple of Cheryls. So hey to absolutely everybody. Glad that you are joining me. If you are joining me anywhere other than my main TikTok account, say hello in the comments, because I will not be able to see you joining if you don't speak. So if you are joining me from, what's up, Pin 1010? If you are joining me, what's up, Nisi? Good to see you on the tube of you, the Book of Faces, the Stack of the Sub, the backup TikTok, or the Gram. You are all coming to me from right there. Main TikTok, you are coming to me from right here. And so, yeah, so just everybody say hello. I want us to be able to have a conversation. Yeah. I mean, Sweet James, when you say bring on the files, I think what I would rather be saying is it is time for Congress to impeach Pam Bondi. We are not going to get a legally operating Department of Justice until Pam Bondi is removed from her position. So that's it for me. I don't want you to bring me a bunch of additionally redacted bullshit that doesn't tell me anything that I don't already know. No, thank you. Let's impeach Pam Bondi. Let's go ahead and impeach Todd Blanche while we're at it. We can bring some charges against him, just saying. And then we can put some actually, ethically operating lawyers to be members of the DOJ. Good morning, Mirabelle. Mirabelle. That's how I'm saying your name every time, Mirabelle. Every time I say it, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just, Mirabelle. Hey, Wawa, how are you? Yeah, Christy Nome as well. What I was responding specifically in reference to the comment about bring on the files. You know what I mean? Good morning, MG Brock. So let me just talk about this. Well, no, so that's the thing, Victoria. He's not quote unquote controlling everything. Yeah, so no one said wait until. That's just a dumbass response. H. Supra, 1980. Please tell me where in my response I said wait until November 2026 to anything. Can you explain to me where I said that at all? Chef Boy, we don't participate in the International Criminal Court. The United States of America does not participate. We have not joined in. We actually withdrew our signature. We are not subject to the International Criminal Court. Now they can still find, make charges. They can still issue warrants, all of that. But we are not subject to it. So it would only be like if they issued those warrants and then our administration happened to travel somewhere where that particular country decided to detain us and turn us over to the court. That's the way that works. So I just, want everybody to be clear. Right. But that requires traveling outside of the country in order for that bounty to be in effect. All right. So listen, folks, if you are new to my space, please do me a favor and put a 1 in the comments. If you are new to my space, please put a 1 in the comments. I appreciate you. I'm not sure. That way I can kind of level set, right? I got you, Cam. Welcome, Luz Morena. I'm glad to see you here. What's up, Jen Dad? Red Hot, shut up. No, you're not. Millicent Boone, welcome. Good to see you. Hey, Susie, good to see you as well. Welcome to the new folks that are coming in the room. I want to do, I want to take a second and just level set. Okay. So the reason I want to do that, yeah, LaRonica, I said it before I joined. So I want to level set for folks that are new to me. So I ask for four things in my space. I ask number one for people to be respectful. Okay. If you come in here and you are not being respectful, don't be surprised if I check your ass. Okay. That would be number one. Number two, do not use slurs of any kind. If you use slurs, you will be muted and booted from my space. It's not acceptable. Hey, Adam, how are you? Number three, don't spam my comments. If you've got something that you want to say it. You can say it once. You can say it twice. Just don't repeat the same thing over and over and over again. It clogs up the comments. It's not productive and it hurts the algorithm. And then last but not least, don't type in all caps. And I know that seems minute and like, why is that a thing? But that's because all caps are reserved for moderators and my folks that are vision impaired. I do have subscribers and followers who are vision impaired and they do type in all caps. So please, you don't do that. Okay, that's it. They're very basic guidelines that grown adults should be able to adhere to. Everybody is welcome to participate in the conversation. You don't have to agree with me. Matter of fact, it's great when people don't agree with me. However, what I expect is for you to be able to engage in respectful discourse and conversation. And so we deal in facts in this space. So if you're not a fan of that, if you are used to rage baiting, if you are used to cussing people out and, calling people names, this is probably not going to be the space for you. And that's cool, right? Feel free to just put your finger on the screen and just swoop on out. Just saying, I don't know what to tell you because I set the goals when I first got in, but I will do them again. Yeah, something weird just happened, but it had 3 at the beginning. Now it has 2. I don't know if TikTok's doing something funky, as TikTok often does, but maybe so. So I am setting them again right now. Okay. So hopefully, salam, Andrea. Good morning, Mom. I see you're back on the Book of Faces. You're still not used to the tick of the talk. No worries. Good morning, Candy Kiss. You came off TikTok because you don't think your comments were being seen. I don't think so either, but love you too. What's up, Dizzy? Hey, Will Knowledge, good to see you. Is the transition today or the 19th? Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't keep up my understanding. I thought it was the 22nd, to be honest. So it doesn't, I don't know. Yeah, I think they're making different changes and updates and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. Like, I don't have the bandwidth for that sort of stuff. Good morning, Keith Jones. So again, you do not have to agree with me, right? We don't have to think the same, believe the same, or any of that. We're just going to engage in respectful dialogue and discourse. I want to make sure that I share, alaikum salam, Muhammad OS. I want to share really quickly things that I intend to touch on today. So number one, I have to talk about Minnesota, which is why you see the vest that you see and the phrase above it that it says it's time for a thaw. That's as nicely as I can put it. And so I am going to talk about Minnesota. What I am not going to do is be showing you a video. And the reason why I'm not is I have zero desire to re-traumatize people. Zero. What I would say is, and this is just the way that I view things like that. Okay. I don't think sharing that video is beneficial for people, period. Barbie, I missed the joke. Do you want to share with me what is funny? I invited you to yes, Cheryl, 100%. Hey, Barbie, I sent you an invitation to join the panel. I won't be removed from here, Eureka. I'm on lots of other platforms. Like right now, I'm live on TikTok. I'm live on Substack, Facebook. I'm live on the Gram. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on all those places right now. Well, Barbie, let's talk about me being funny. Come join the panel. Let's talk about you being amused. I'm game for that today. I sent you an invitation. Come join the panel. David, I got Barbie. What's up with that crazy prompt? Not sure what's crazy about my prompt, PD Max, so be specific. You got to be specific so that I know what you're talking about. What's up, Indigo Spirit? Truth hurts. Barbie, you've yet to say anything truthful. So here's what's going to happen, Barbie. I'm going to give you a moment to be able to join the panel. If you choose not to do that, to have the conversation, then you'll be muted or booted. Not because, you disagree with me or whatever. It's just because you don't have any real intention to have a conversation, right? So like if you just want to be like shitty and trolly from the comments and be distracting, I'm just going to get rid of you because we got stuff to do. If you want to have an actual conversation, then accept the invitation and join the panel. And we can do that like grown adults. Barbie, feel free to get in the box. Come join the panel. That's all you got to do. What's up, young boomer? Good to see you. What's up, Tommy D? Hey, Sean. No, they never do join MG Brock. It's very rare that they join. That's for sure. So for my moderators, if we can put a timer on Barbie. Barbie's got about 60 seconds to join the panel and then can head on with themselves. Good morning, Black Queen. Good to see you. As they should have been canceled, 100%. So let me just say this. Let me take a moment and let's go ahead and address, because this is the order in which we're going to have a conversation about things, okay? Salam Ferris, we're going to talk first and foremost about Minneapolis. And Carol, I've only been live for 11, almost 12 minutes now. So you got good timing. I want to talk about what happened in Minneapolis. And the things that I'm going to talk about is this. What I'm not going to do is argue about whether somebody in a van was blocking the road. I'm not going to talk about whether, she should have gotten out of the car or pulled away. I'm not going to talk about any of that, because here's what I'm going to say to you is there was nothing in that behavior that happened. There's no justification for firing into a vehicle. That's it. There's nothing at all that justifies that level of violence and that use of force. So I'm not going to argue like, oh, well, did this happen? Did that happen? Did she drive this way? Did she whatever? Like the bottom line is this. Hey, good morning, Ronnie. The bottom line is that she's not a threat to you. She's leaving the scene. And she, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and take out the trash right there. And that is what it is. This is a mom from Colorado who moved to Minneapolis about a year or so ago, has 3 children, and never been in trouble before at all, has had nothing except, I think, 1 traffic ticket, not a protester, not an anybody. And so the bottom line is that if you as law enforcement, if you as a member of, Customs and Border Patrol, if you are not properly trained in how to assess the situation, accurately determine what is and isn't a threat, when to pull your firearm, if you don't have the ability to do that, then you shouldn't be in that position. It's just that simple. Okay. And I say that as a veteran myself, right? You just shouldn't be in that. You shouldn't be in that position, period. So the other part of it that I want to say, so that people who are outraged about this, I want to put a little, she didn't hit anybody, Michael, stop lying. And I'm not going to let you lie in my comments. I want to be clear, Michael, she didn't hit anybody in the comments. So she didn't hit anybody with the truck. That's a flat out lie. It's disinformation. And I'm not going to let you say it in the chat. I'm just not going to. So guys, if you say fake information, if you say false information, y'all don't argue with Michael, please. Y'all don't argue with him. That is exactly what they want. And I shouldn't have to say it every day. I don't care if it boosts my live. I don't care. Listen, I don't need fuckery to boost my live. Just so we're clear. I want to be really, really clear. I'm going to handle the room like I always do, including people with inaccurate information and including people that are here to troll. I'm going to handle it. Okay? That's the way that it works. Okay. So, again, if you are new to my space, there are guidelines for being in here. You can absolutely have opposing views. You just can't lie. You can't put out misinformation. That's what you can't do. It's not hard. Amy, join the panel if you would like to discuss your views. Sure. I just don't, this is not going to be a space for disinformation and misinformation. That's all. That's not hard. So, Amy, if you would like to join the panel, please do that. Michael, you have 60 seconds. Hey, mods, can you do me a favor? Give Michael his 60 seconds. And if he's not on the panel in 60 seconds, go ahead and boot Michael for me. Appreciate it. Good morning, Robin D. Good to see you. All right. So just so everyone understands, perfect. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Dani?
I am perfect. So is this your first time in my live?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Okay, gotcha. So I'll give you the guidelines in case you weren't in here when I went over them before. So what I require in this space is for people to be respectful in their conversation, for people to not use slurs of any kind, for people to not spam the comments, and for people to not type in all caps because I have folks that are vision impaired, right? The reality is that you're claiming there's a video that says she hit the officer.
Correct.
And there's not.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What video did you see?
I mean, they're not labeled.
All right. What angle did you see?
I've
Did
seen
you see the angle of the front of the car?
I've seen multiple angles.
All right. So I was just like
No,
you.
Selena.
I thought for a fact she definitely did not hit him. I saw the side angle first. It's the only one I saw. When I saw the front angle, the car does hit him. Doesn't hit him hard. I think she was just like coasting, maybe a mile an hour, 2 miles an hour. But she does hit him. And the bullet did go through the front windshield. So just for evidence stating, it will go down as a clean shoot from the federal agent, because a car, when directed at a person, is known as a lethal weapon.
Not when you stand in front of the car. So let me be clear, Michael. When a car, hold on, Michael, but that's not accurate. Michael, that's not accurate.
In front of the car the whole time.
Michael, this is my thing. That is not accurate.
Dani, I watched 4 videos.
I hear you, but let me just tell you that here's the thing, okay? You cannot say that it is automatically a threat. It's not if you stand in front of the car, not if you go in front of the car. You just have to read the DOJ's like rule of engagement. That's not the deal. You can't, that's not a threat. That's not. And you have to accurate. So look, have you ever been in law enforcement?
No, I'm not in law enforcement.
Okay. Have you ever been in the military?
I know the rules of engagement.
Okay. Have you ever been in the military, or you said no to law enforcement? Have you ever been in the military?
Yes.
Okay. What branch? Army. Okay. So me as well. So do you think that is everyone that is facing you? Does that constitute a threat?
For Army, no.
Not for law enforcement.
Not for law enforcement, correct?
Yeah, not for law enforcement either. So when
No,
you say,
hold on, let me just finish on it really quick, Danny. You're right. Military, no, you do not have the right to do anything. You actually have to be shot at. If you're in a especially if in a green zone, you have to be shot at. Even if you see a gun, you can't shoot. As for police and for federal agents, it is slightly different. As a federal agent, if you feel that your life is in jeopardy, you can use lethal force.
So is your life in jeopardy at 1 mile an hour?
No, but does the police know that in a split second?
They do. Yes, they do know that. And if a police officer is so inept, if an ICE agent is so inept at their position that they don't understand that 1 mile an hour is not a threat to life, they shouldn't be doing their fucking job. They shouldn't be there. It's just that the answer is no.
So had she pushed on the gas at that split second?
Nope. There's no had she. Nope. There's no had she. Listen, there's no had she done something. We're not going to speculate as to what the possibilities could be.
All right. So Danny, let me ask you a question. When you go ahead, right, and you make a decision, they have consequences. When you're blocking federal agents from doing their work, and
nope, she wasn't blocking anybody from doing their work. No, she wasn't. How so?
She was parked horizontal from the street. Right? She was completely blocking traffic.
No, she wasn't.
You watch the video, you see her screaming out the window, moving her hands. One of the Fed trucks pulled out in front of her. She moves up to go to hit it.
No, she does not. No, she does not, Michael. Do you know anything about this lady? Do you know anything about this lady? Anything? Listen, Michael.
Did you see all 4 angles?
Michael, stop for a second. Okay. I understand. I said stop for a second. So I understand that there will be people that desperately want to justify what took place yesterday. I understand that. The reality is that there is no justification. There's just not. And the bottom line is this. This was not somebody who was an activist. This was not somebody who was there to do whatever. She literally had dropped her kid at school and was going on about her business. What I'm not going to do is argue about any of that. I'm not, because I actually value life, period. And I'm still speaking though, Michael.
When I was talking,
and I'm still speaking. Michael, the first thing you did when you joined my panel was hear the guidelines about being respectful. That was the very first thing I went over with you. It's the very first thing.
All right, go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I'm going to. And you're going to be respectful or you won't be here. Everybody in the comments, be respectful. The bottom line is there isn't justification for what took place yesterday. There's not. And I don't expect anything different than what you're doing right now from people. And the reason I don't expect anything different is I have literally seen videos of a 12-year-old little boy minding his business and being unalived in less than 2 seconds after police pull up, right? I have seen it time and time again. Folks who think like you do.
Are we going to stay on topic?
Not the fuck if I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yeah. See, that's how it works.
And
again, that's how it works. That's how it works. So, Michael, I know this is going to be hard for you. But I'm going to speak the way that I want to speak on the topic that I want to speak on. And if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. That's how it works. So let me just be very clear about this. Like I said, for people, I'm not arguing whether you think she should have turned this way or she should have done this, or whether the front end of her car tapped him going 1 mile an hour and so he thought he was under a threat. I'm not doing that, because the reality is that realistically, reasonably, right, there is no justification for firing into that vehicle. As a matter of fact, the fact that she pulled away, because she was away before he fired into that, before she was already turned away from him when he fired into the vehicle. So understanding that when you are an officer of any kind and the threat is leaving you, the threat is not coming towards you to get you, you do not have the right to to put bullets into a vehicle. You don't, period. The DOJ's rules of force, using force, all of those things come into play. I'm not arguing with it. Now, do I expect everyone to be able to reasonably, critically assess that and whatever? No, I don't. Do you want to know why? Because I have listened to particular groups of people and particular types of people justify excessive force, lethal force, by police officers my entire life. I don't expect it. For God's sake, I am listening to people right now that are blaming the Capitol Police for the actions of what January 6th people did, right? So we live in this world where people do that. So I'm not going to argue with you. You're entitled to your opinion, right? You're not entitled to your own set of facts, though. And that's where the difference is. That's just it. It doesn't even matter if you say, oh, her car touched him going 1 mile an hour. That's not a threat. It's not a reason to use lethal force. It's just not. And now you can respond.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So as for the videos, if you didn't see the front angle, I suggest you take a look at the front angle. Just watch the front angle video. I promise you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, all right, I get it. When you see where the bullet shot in the court of law, because that's where we stand, the court of with the
Michael,
lawsuit,
nobody's in a court of law.
It's gonna show that the bullet angle is justifiable shot of him being in front of the car as she accelerated off.
No.
That's what's going to show.
No.
Also, another thing, where do you see 2 lanes in the video? I have it playing right now. Where
Michael,
do you see 2 lanes?
Michael, did I just tell you that I am not going to argue with you about justifiable force? I think I just told you that. And you still want to argue with me.
I'm asking you a question. I'm not arguing.
Again.
Me raising my voice.
So again, here's what I'm telling you. 2 lanes, 1 lane, 6 fucking lanes. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care if there's 1 lane. I don't care if there's 6 lane. Here's the thing, is that there is no justification for lethal force in this situation. None.
Okay.
Yeah. I have literally seen videos. I have seen videos of.
Have you seen what's been happening to ICE
I have
agents?
seen videos of white men with knives chasing. Excuse you. I'm speaking now. Y'all, let me just keeping it 100% real, y'all. I have seen videos of white dudes chasing police officers. I'm speaking, chasing police officers for real, and seen police run from them and not be unalived. Like the reality is we have a different system when it comes to lethal force. Period. We do, and that is why I don't expect anything different from people like Michael. I don't.
So someone who's a law-abiding citizen who knows the laws is someone you can't take any advice from.
You being a law-abiding citizen doesn't mean Michael. So again, Michael, You being a law abiding citizen doesn't mean that you are in a position to give me advice. And the reason why I say that is, okay, I would hazard a guess. I have probably looked into use of force, use of lethal force, inappropriate, illegal use of force with law enforcement and civilians a lot more than you have. I would hazard a guess that I've talked to more attorneys, more police officers, read more court case files than you have regarding the subject. So your opinion.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah, and you can't argue with me because here's the thing: you are not a lawyer, you're not a judge,
So
you're not a again. Hello.
Again,
So
hello,
here's the thing.
Kamala Harris.
So
Hello,
here's the
I'm speaking.
thing. Bless
I'm
his
speaking.
heart. Bless it. Did he just say Kamala Harris? You still mad about her? So here's the thing, folks. You can't offer me something if you're not in a position to give it to me. So if I have more experience in a particular area than you do, if I have spent time speaking to actual experts on subject matter, then no, just because you're a quote unquote law abiding citizen doesn't mean that I should take advice from you because you're not qualified to give me advice on the subject matter, which is why I spend time talking to actual attorneys, actual law enforcement. When you hit the panel, the first thing that I ask you is, are you law enforcement? Have you ever been law enforcement? How familiar are you with the policies around the use of lethal force? Which, by the way, varies from one state to the next, right? They have different policies. The DOJ, however, has a certain policy. So, no, I don't have to take advice from someone who's not an expert on the subject matter or in a position and has more experience than me to tell me what to do. No.
All right.
Okay.
You're right. Exactly what you said. Everything you just said, 100% right. However, they're federal agents, and their law goes through any state.
So they're
agents, not cops.
Okay.
There's
so
no jurisdiction.
Michael, did you hear what I said? I said, and this is why it's really important to listen to like actual comprehend and not listen to respond. So what I clearly said is that use of force varies from state to state for law enforcement, and the DOJ has their own guidelines for use of force. So the DOJ is actually who governs those federal agents. And that's what I specifically said, is that DOJ has their own guidelines for use of force.
So if someone's driving in a car, what do they use a car as? Isn't that known as a lethal weapon?
No, a car is known as a car unless I use it as a lethal weapon.
Okay, it could be used as a lethal weapon.
It can be, but it wasn't in this case.
Okay. What has been happening all around the United States?
Nope, we're not talking about what's been happening all around the United States, Michael. We're talking about what's been happening here.
So it just shows that blood's on the Democrats' hands.
No, what it shows is, and that's just a really dumb thing to say, Michael. So listen, Michael, stop. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That just shows this about the Democrat. That's just a dumb thing to say. This conversation is not about Republicans versus Democrats. That's a dumb thing. I don't care who was in the car in terms of what their political affiliation was. It doesn't matter to me if the driver of that car is a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a Green Party, Tea Party, Workers' Family Party. I don't care the political affiliation of a person in the car. What matters is that is an innocent American life, an American citizen in the car, and she had the right to live, period. And the bottom line is, even if you believed, oh, the front end of her car hit him as he pulled away because she was going 1 or 2 miles an hour. The reality is that she was not a threat coming at him when he unloaded. The same way, if someone is a threat to me, right, and then they turn around and they leave, I don't have the right after that threat is no longer coming towards me. I don't have the right to pull my weapon and unalive them. I don't have the right to do that. And neither does an ICE agent. period. Once the threat is not there, which it was not at the time that he unloaded his weapon, he has no authority to use that lethal force. And that stands in every court of law, Michael.
All right, so Dani, I have a question for you. Your opinion, my opinion, we agree, completely different. We have two different opinions, and that's fine. That's what America is about. Everyone can have their own opinion. Perfectly fine. But when it comes down to when he sees his day in court, which he will, because this is America, and he's found innocent, what do you say then?
Okay, so here's what I would say, okay, just so that we are clear. From the Department of Justice, the manual, and the manual is 1-16.000, Department of Justice Policy on Use of Force. And I'm going to go to specifically 1-16.00, 1-16.200, use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. A, deadly force. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. That is, when the officer has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or to another person. Number one, deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Number two, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless one, a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle, or two, the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer or to others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle. Firearms may not be discharged from a moving vehicle except in exigent circumstances. In these situations, an officer must have an articulable reason for this use of deadly force. 3, if feasible, and if to do so would not increase the danger to the officer or others, a verbal warning to submit to the authority of the officer shall be given prior to the use of deadly force. 4, warning shots are not permitted outside of the prison context. 5, officers will be trained in alternative methods and tactics for handling resisting subjects, which must be used when the use of deadly force is not authorized by this policy. 6, deadly force should not be used against persons whose actions are a threat solely to themselves or to property unless an individual poses an imminent danger of threat or serious physical injury to the officers or others in close proximity. Based on the Department of Justice's own policy on the use of deadly force, this is an unjustifiable shooting, period.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and combat that. The car driving in his direction, which is known to be as a lethal weapon, so that will show. The shot in the windshield will also show that the angle was directly at him from where the bullet is, so that's evidence showing
Michael,
that the car was coming
Michael,
at him.
stop.
Hold on.
No, stop. Michael, stop. Michael, a car does not equate to a lethal weapon. And I'm going to be clear. I'm going to read it again because it is specifically addressing exactly what you're saying. Here's what it says. Michael, you didn't. I do understand. Okay. I don't need you to mansplain to me. I understand exactly what I'm saying. And it's important for the other 730 people in the room that they understand what I'm saying. So this is very clear. Points 1 and 2 are enough. Point 1, deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. So for anybody in the comments that said they told her to get out the car and she left, my response to that is very clear. So the fuck what? Because according to the DOJ's policy, you cannot use deadly force just because somebody is leaving. Number two, and this is the important part, listen, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless, and there are very specific conditions. You ready? Number one, a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. So when you say, oh, the car is a deadly force, I don't give a damn, because it says you have to be threatening the officer or someone else with something other than the vehicle. So your argument that a vehicle is considered a deadly weapon is moot, because the DOJ's own policy says you cannot say that the vehicle is the deadly weapon. Period. Point two, it says, or the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer or others. That did not occur in the video in any way, shape, or form. There was no death. There's no serious bodily harm from the manner in which she operated the vehicle. So again, by point one and point two, not a thing. Okay. And it says the officer, no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle. Firearms may not be discharged from a moving vehicle. It's just that simple. Let me be clear to you. I don't give a damn if she was sitting in her car blocking the intersection. Not an excuse for deadly force. I don't give a damn if he walked in front of her car and the corner of it touched him and he didn't like it. I don't give a damn, because he was not going to die. It's not a matter of if it's okay, Sherry. It's not justifiable for death. It doesn't matter if you think someone should do that. You do not get to kill people because you don't like their blocking traffic. Period. This is not difficult. And when people say things like, well, what happened to listening to officers? What happened to officers respecting the life of people? If you want to talk to me about officers being respected, then let's talk about officers giving respect to innocent people, which they don't do in many cases. And that's me responding to the chat.
Got it. So this is where I know he's going to become innocent in the court of law.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Babbitt case. If you watch the Ashley Babbitt case,
these are not two cases. These are not the same things.
He shot an unarmed woman who had nothing in her hands and nothing, and killed her instantly.
No,
he got
Michael.
Away with it because he said he was
Michael. Oh my God! I can't. This is the reason why I can't. The reason. Oh my God! The reason why I can't, Michael, is this is simple.
The ICE agent did a law.
Every time. I teach people this all the time. If I mute you, you stay muted. 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 If I mute you, you stay muted until I unmute you. Thank you. Folks in the comments, I want to say something to you all. Okay. Number one, be respectful, not only to people who think like you, be respectful to everyone that is in the comments and on the panel. At a bare minimum, everyone in here needs to be able to speak respectfully. Period. Okay? I'm telling that because I see some of you guys being rude in the comments. Don't do that. I know. Thank you, Sammy J. I appreciate it. Okay? So
Dani,
can I finish addressing the chat first and level setting the room? Michael, listen, I'm not even talking to you. I muted you so that I can level set the room that's full of almost 1,000 people. It is important for absolutely everybody in here to hear the conversation. Jesus Christ. Jay-Z Max, do not spam the comments. Folks, this is not difficult. We can have a conversation, but you have to be respectful. Yeah, Sandy, thanks. If Jay-Z Max keeps spamming the comments, just go ahead and get him out. Same thing with Selfish. Yeah, Selfish Pro 230. Do not spam the comments. You will get muted, folks, if you spam the comments. Felipe, when you say no free speech here, you're correct. It's my damn room. You want to speak freely, go start your own live. Absolutely. That's the way it works. You're right. No free speech here. If you want to speak freely, start your own live. Yep, I sure am. Okay. Glad that we all got that. Yeah, don't argue with folks in the comments, okay? All right. So now we will, I'm just saying, this ain't hard. Okay, so what we will do is, Michael, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond. What I'm going to ask you to do, what's up, Zanyaya? I'm going to ask you to be as concise as possible. If I interject to make a clarification, right, I need you to pause if I do that. And the reason why that's important is because there are over 800 people in this room, and we've got to be able to do that. I have to be able to manage the conversation. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. Can I get 30 seconds to prove my point how the judge is going to mark him innocent? You said you watch a lot of cases, right? You speak to attorneys. You said all that. So I'm sure that you've read the Ashley Babbitt one, right? Have you? Yes or no?
Michael, use your 30 seconds wisely.
I'm asking you a question. Did you see?
Right, and I will answer your question when I speak with you. I'm very familiar with Ashley's case.
They found him innocent because he said he did a lawful order. He told her to not go through the door. She was not armed. She was a Navy veteran. She had nothing on her to hurt him. He shot her right in the neck, killing her. So your whole thing, that officer could have shot at the tires.
I didn't say that.
Could have done all that.
I didn't say that.
Could have done all that.
I didn't say that, Michael.
The comments.
Yeah, so address me, not the comments.
But I'm just reading what they were saying.
Right, okay. Guys, comments. Y'all just let him say it. So again, you're supposed to be proving your point. So what's your point?
I am proving my point.
Okay,
they found him innocent because he said his life was in danger from somebody who wasn't armed. And because he gave a lawful order and had his gun drawn, he had the right to take her life. That was ruled in the state of court.
Okay, are you done now?
Sorry about that. I just got a spam call.
Okay.
So that's why he was justified. The court is going to say this cop is justified as well. The angle of the bullet shows it. Had there was no windshield shot, he's going to jail. He's 100% going to jail. 100%. Okay. But since there was a bullet right in the windshield, it shows that he was in front of the car.
Okay.
Which justifiably he could say, I felt like my life was in danger.
Okay.
And then the court will rule in his favor. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and I heard you. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to respond to what you said. So number one, what is not prudent to do is to compare two cases that don't share any commonalities. And I'm going to share with you what I mean by that. So when we talk about Ashley Babbitt's case, on the Capitol grounds in the middle of an insurrection, riot, whatever you want to call it, it is not the same thing as someone being in a vehicle. It is not the same thing as someone simply driving off in a different direction. They like the two cases are in no way, shape, or form similar or the same. The facts of those two cases are not remotely the same. Therefore, using them to make a comparison or to try to make a point isn't it's just not applicable. Right, exactly. Apples and oranges. They're not the same thing. Number two, when we talk about an officer giving a command, right? An officer can say, "Get out of your vehicle," right? An officer can say that. If someone doesn't get out of their vehicle, and instead of getting out of their vehicle, they choose to step on the gas and flee the scene, according to DOJ's use of deadly force, that officer does not have the legal right to fire into that vehicle and unalive them. They don't have that right. According to the Department of Justice's own use of force policy, right? Because that vehicle was not being operated in a manner which would give you imminent threat, deadly force by means other than the vehicle. It literally says, listen to this, it says, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless the person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. Other than the vehicle, Michael. So your argument that the car is a deadly weapon is irrelevant to this use of force policy. It's irrelevant. It literally just a judge, an attorney will read this document and say, the bottom line is it doesn't matter. It does not matter because the deadly force has to be coming from something other than the vehicle. And then it says the vehicle has to be being operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury. So the next logical step in that would be to assess any injuries that the officer has. The officer doesn't have any. The officer doesn't have any injuries. So even your argument that, oh, the car hit him, the officer has no injuries. For anybody that wants to read this for yourself, you literally can just go to the Justice Department's website. I'm in the Justice Manual. I am reading from Title I, Organization and Functions, and the section is 1-16.200. That's it. There is no, oh, I know it's going to happen because of this, or I know it's going to happen because of that. It doesn't, there is no that. You can speculate if you want, but you're speculating based on your opinion. You're comparing it to a case that has completely different merits. These things don't go together at all. They just don't, Michael.
So listen, this is apples and oranges between the Ashley Babbitt and this one.
But you brought it up.
There's a two-tier justice system. One was a 140-pound woman with no weapon.
No, we're not doing that. Michael, I'm not discussing Ashley Babbitt. I'm not discussing Ashley Babbitt. I'm not discussing Ashley Babbitt's case, period. I am discussing the use of deadly force manual from the Department of Justice that governs the behavior of that ICE officer, period.
Give me a few minutes. I could go pull up at least probably like 4 or 5 cases within like a minute showing police officers justified shooting people in their car because they were driving at them.
I don't give a damn. And here's why. Because police officers have different use of force guidelines from state to state. And I'm not talking about police officers, Michael. I'm talking about an ICE agent that is operating under the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't care.
So it's justifiable to shoot an unarmed woman, but it's not.
We are not, again, talking about Ashley Babbitt. We are not talking about Ashley Babbitt. Don't bring her up again.
But it was my time to talk.
Yeah, but we are not talking, and I've already said it. I've already said it, Michael. I've already said it. We are not talking about a case that doesn't share any merits to this one. We are not going to talk about somebody trying to climb through a window versus somebody sitting in a car. We are not going to do that. We are not doing that. Michael, again, this is not hard. I don't care. I don't care if she weighs 140 pounds or 340 pounds. I don't give a fuck how much somebody weighs. I don't know why you keep saying that. I don't know why you keep doing that. Michael, do you want to know why you're pivoting to Ashley? Because you know that you're wrong.
I'm actually 100% right.
Well, no, you're 100% wrong. And this is the problem. This is the problem is when there are individuals that are faced with facts. This is not my opinion. This is me reading directly from the manual. If I read this manual and it said anything different, we'd be having a different conversation. But I'm not. I am reading directly from the DOJ manual. This is not my opinion. This is not my guess. This is not my speculation. This is not my fucking crystal ball, Miss Cleo. I can tell you what's going to happen. No, this is me going, here's what the facts say. Here's what the policy says. Here's what the law says. That's it. My opinion doesn't matter.
I'm trying to show you that
you're not trying to show me anything.
It isn't black and white.
But it is.
It is.
It is. It is. It is.
It's not.
It is. 100%. It is.
That's with the.
Michael, have you ever argued a case in court? Michael, have you ever argued a case in court?
No.
Okay, I'm not a lawyer. Listen, Michael, I'm not a lawyer, but I've argued a case in court. I have been my own attorney.
Yeah.
And won. I have a very good understanding of how to read and interpret law. A very good understanding of how to read and interpret law. Like I said, I have argued for my own self in court and won. So,
like I said, when he's found innocent and they say it's adjustable chute, I'll come back to you and I'll say, "Hi, Dani. Sorry that you were wrong, but this is what happened."
Okay, so let's be clear about something, Michael. Let me follow you. Okay, let me just help me out. So I am not arguing with you about what a court will or won't do.
I know what's
and here's I'm going to finish and let me tell you why I'm not arguing with you about what a court will or won't do. I have seen court systems let officers and federal agents off for illegally murdering Black and brown people my whole life. That's not a surprise to me. If you think that coming back to me and going, "Oh, he was innocent," shit. So that the court system can say whatever the court wants to say. That doesn't make it accurate, right? Period.
So then, what is accurate, Dani?
So what's accurate is the policy. And so when I started this conversation, what I said was very simple, is that the guidelines for the use of deadly force will tell you that there is no justifiable reason for the actions that he took yesterday. And according to the DOJ's manual, there's not. Now, when lawyers go into court and they argue whatever, will something different happen? I don't know. Because I am not Miss Cleo, and I don't hazard to like predict what the system is or isn't going to do. Like, I'm just not. I mean, for God's sake, there was actually a question. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I watched 4 or 5 LA police officers walk free after everybody watched them beat the shit out of Rodney King in the street. So yeah. I have absolutely saw the Senate advanced the war powers resolution to limit further attacks on Venezuela, y'all. So that just came through my notifications. So the Senate has passed and advanced the measure to limit further actions in Venezuela with the war powers resolution. So just so y'all know, that just happened. All right. So here's the thing, Michael. This is what I said. You're when you first got up here, it makes a difference because she hit him with a car. The video shows she hit him with a car. A car is a deadly weapon. And my point is simply this. No, it's not that cut and dry. A car in and of itself is not a deadly weapon unless it is used in that regard. So for example, I can walk, hold on, let me finish my sentence. I could walk into my kitchen right now and get a skillet. And I could use that damn skillet as a deadly damn weapon. But when I go to the store to buy the skillet, I don't go, can I have a deadly weapon, please? Preferably one used for sauteing. Anything can be a deadly weapon, whether it's my skillet, whether it's a car, whatever it is. Just because something can be used as a deadly weapon does not make it a deadly weapon.
Correct.
Right. So your argument.
Had she put the car in park, she's alive today.
No, not true. So again, you don't get it, Michael. You don't understand. A car, just a car in drive is not a deadly weapon. Period. It's not. And the guidelines stipulate that, Michael.
Yeah.
Period.
All right. We're not going to get anywhere. Dani,
we're not. Yeah, you're welcome. So, and can I say one more thing before you go, Michael?
Yes. Go for it.
So in this whole time that you've been up here with me, I didn't call you names. And several times in this conversation, you attempted to be degrading and disrespectful to me. You referred to me as Kamala Harris, which is actually a compliment. And then you called me a criminal, right? Would you like to share with me why you felt it necessary to speak to me like that?
Yeah. See, I was having a nice conversation with you, and every time I tried to talk, you just straight cut me right off.
So you felt that justified you calling me names?
No, I just called you by the person that you remind me of.
No, what criminal do you know? Did you not call me a criminal?
When did I call you a criminal?
Would you come on, Michael? When I asked you if you'd ever argued a case in court.
Yeah, I said, and then you said, yeah, you were defending yourself.
I said I represented myself. I didn't say I defended myself.
You committed a crime?
No. So no, Michael, you called me a criminal.
Yeah, I said, what, you committed a crime and that other criminals were sticking up for you?
So let's be clear about a couple of things, Michael. When I say I represented myself in court, right? Does that mean that I committed a crime? Because you do know that we have criminal court, we have civil court, we have different court systems. You know that, right?
I do know that.
Right. So can you share with me why you thought it was appropriate to say those types of things? Because I didn't call you names. I didn't say anything derogatory. What I did was speak to you about the arguments that you were making.
You're very defensive to criminal acts.
In what way? What criminal act did I defend?
You said that pretty much that she didn't do anything wrong.
No, I didn't. Tell me when I said that.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
There's no justification of what they did, and then you said something like,
yeah. So if I say that there's no justification,
to take her out of the car.
So if I say there's no justification for the officer's behavior, I'm not speaking about what she did or didn't do at all. Right? When I say, hey, listen, there's no justification for how these officers for how this officer behaved and acted, right? I'm not speaking about her at all. I'm speaking specifically about the officer and the officer's action. So my question to you is very simple. When I ask you, have you ever argued a case in court? And you say no. And I say, okay, I have. I've represented myself in court and won. Why would you then think it appropriate to refer to me as a criminal?
Because when you bring up court while we're talking about an ongoing criminal offense, a crime that has happened.
What crime? You told me no crime has happened.
She committed a crime.
Okay, Michael, the question, so try to stay right here with me.
She pulled out of her driveway. She was not in her driveway.
So, Michael, I didn't say anything about a driveway. I still don't know who you're talking to. I didn't say anything about a driveway. Michael, this is very clear. I'm asking you a very specific question, right?
I just answered.
So, because I didn't say anything about being defensive over crimes or any of those things, you called me a criminal. And what I would like to know is why you felt hold on, Michael. Michael.
Opened over many courts. Testimonies.
Michael, hold on. Here's what I said.
Oh my God.
Why did you feel it appropriate to slander me and call me a criminal?
Because you said you've done a lot of them.
A lot of what?
A lot of court testimonies. You read through a lot of court testimonies.
So because I read court cases, that makes me a criminal?
And you said you defended yourself. You represented
No, I did
yourself.
not. I did not say I defended
you
myself
represented
at
yourself.
all. Here's what I said. I said, have you ever argued a case in court? You said no. And I said, okay, I have. I've actually represented myself and won. Now, representation, when you represent your case in court, that doesn't mean you're a defendant. Right? So, for example, if I take someone to civil court and I sue them and I am my own representative in court and I argue my case, I'm not the defendant. So I'm asking, what is it in your mindset that equated me saying that I represented myself to me being a criminal? How did you draw those two conclusions?
You're defending somebody who broke the law.
No, you did not. You called me a criminal.
I just said you were defending a criminal, and you said who committed a crime?
No, you referred to me as a criminal.
Because you said you represented yourself. And
so why would you think that because I represented myself, I was a criminal?
What did I just say?
Well, I'm asking you. So this is my point.
I said because you're defending a criminal, and then I said, "What? Are you a criminal?"
Defending what criminal? I wasn't defending any criminal.
Renee was.
I wasn't defending any criminal.
Okay.
My question to you is, Michael, is why would you think that me representing myself in court equated to me being a criminal?
Because you just said you're defending criminals. That's why I said it.
No, but that's not what the question was.
You asked me why did I call you a criminal? Because you said you represented yourself in court and you're defending.
So if I represented myself, why does that make me a criminal?
What did I just say? Am I speaking Chinese?
No, what I think you're doing, Michael, is here's what I think you're doing. I think that you are working, Michael, I think you are working very hard. I think you are working very hard to sidestep an uncomfortable question. That's what I think. And here's the thing. And so what you're trying to do now, so what you're attempting to do now, Michael, is say that I was defending someone that committed a crime. And the reality is that I have never said anything defending any behavior by the victim. What I have done is say is that the actions of the ICE agent were unjustifiable. I haven't spent my time defending her. I haven't said, oh, she deserved to be there. She could do this. She could do that. She should have done this. No matter what I have said, what I have spoken specifically to are the actions of the ICE agent. That's what I did. What I did was hold the ICE agent responsible for his actions according to the policy that governs his behavior. That's what I've done.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I've done. And that alone. Mm-hmm. And somehow for you, the image of me representing myself in court automatically equated to criminal. And what I would just offer is that it is that presumption, it is that unconscious bias that leads to Black and brown people all across this country being unalived.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So, but again, thank you for joining, Michael. I hope you have a great day.
God bless.
Goddess bless. So, I want to address a couple of things happening in the comments, okay? The reason I didn't just drop Michael from the panel is because there are 800 people in this room. And the conversation, no, Sammy J, you cannot. And so the conversation isn't always about the person on the panel, okay? That's number one. Number two, I could have let him just get right off this panel and keep on going and never hold that mirror up in front of his face and point out that I heard his bigotry. But I wasn't going to do that. When I hear it, I'm not going to sidestep it. I'm not going to go around it. I'm not going to act like it's not there. I'm going to hold the mirror up and say, I heard your dog whistle. I heard it. I got it. I know where it comes from, right? And the reason why I waited until the end was because that way all the contention was gone out of the conversation. Had I immediately jumped on it at the time that he said it, right? It would have been rah, 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 rah. Nope. When he says at the very end, appreciate you having me, da 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 da, I'm like, yay, great. Can I just ask one more thing before you go? Just one more thing before you go. Can you share with me why you thought it appropriate to call me names and defame my character? Why would you think that's appropriate? Because I did not do that. I did not do that to you. You never heard me say anything about him as an individual, right? And so this is important because here's what I know for sure. In like a day, I won't even remember Michael's ass. I talked to a lot of Michaels on this app. I talked to a lot of Michaels, y'all. I bet you Michael doesn't talk to a lot of Dannies. I bet you Michael does not talk to a lot of Dannies. And therefore, this conversation will stick with Michael far longer than it will stick with me. And for me, I'm not responsible for what Michael does or doesn't do with his experience today. That's not on me. Whether today was, me planting a seed, watering some other seeds, whether today was simply me pulling some weeds out of Michael's ground, right? For somebody else to plant some seeds, whatever it was, I'm not responsible for that. You follow me on that? It's not my role to play. My role is simply to do the work and then move on. That's it. Okay? So, yes, Cam, I got it. Juan, if you can stop spamming, you just give me a minute. Okay? So 1 second, folks. Let me level set. Y'all doing all right over here? Whoo-wee. To be quite frank, I wasn't expecting all of this today. I don't know why I wasn't, but I wasn't. But here we go. So, folks, I think that for me, one of the things that's really important in discussing this topic, I remember going, what does it means typing in all caps on your capital letters. That's what it means. So how long have I been over an hour, Auntie Tinker? About an hour and 10, hour and 15. Okay. I remember going down to South Carolina and driving to Ahmaud Arbery's neighborhood and standing at the corner of the street where he died after being hunted by those white men for jogging. When someone says to me, he'll get off, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not Miss Cleo. Maybe he will, maybe he won't get off. Because what I know is this justice system sucks when it comes to white police officers and Black and brown people. So if you say to me, oh, this officer's going to get off, I'm not going to say, no, he won't, because I understand this justice system ain't shit when it comes to Black and brown people. Okay? Like, just keeping it 100% real. I ain't going to argue with you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, right? What I am going to say to you is, regardless of what the court says, what I know for sure is what this Justice Department policy says about lethal force. And what I know for sure is what my own eyes tell me. Yeah, it was, did I say South Carolina? Yes, I meant Georgia, Brunswick, Georgia. Sorry. I get them states confused. Sorry. Yes, Brunswick, Georgia. So, um, I think that it's really important. And that was the other part of the conversation that I wanted to have with people. Um, I really, really want people to take a moment, and then I'm going to bring some other folks back up on the panel. Okay. I'm going to bring some other folks up on the panel. So, the other thing that I wanted to say for people that are finding yourselves all worked up and you're so angry and you're so whatever, here's what I would say for those of you all that are finding yourselves reacting to this, and this is fairly new for you. Maybe for some of you, this is the second time, this is your first time after George Floyd. Like for some of you, you're new to this experience. You're not used to seeing it. What I would say to you all is welcome. Welcome to the world that many of us have known existed for a very long time. Okay. What I would say to Black and brown people is you are informed because you already know what has what has transpired. So if you feel like you want to watch the video, and you can do so without being further traumatized, then do so. If you can't handle seeing another one, then don't see another one. What I would say to white people who are saying, but it's not right to not obey an officer, I would say, go watch the Khalif Browder story. I would say go watch Just Mercy. I would say go watch 13th. I would say Diallo. I would say go watch. Because I want to be clear about something. I am tired of seeing justification for the assassination of Black and brown people. Sean Bell broke my heart, just so you know. Sean Bell broke my heart. It's Breonna Taylor, Breonna, Breonna Taylor. Oh, Tamir Rice is who I was talking about when I said the little 12-year-old boy playing at the shelter. Like when those police officers pulled up to Tamir Rice, they weren't out of their cars in 2 seconds before they unalived that baby. That's real talk. And that's before we get to Trayvon. It's before we get to Mike Brown. It's before we get to so many others. The other day, how many of you all were not in here with me the other day when I played the video by Ta-Nehisi Coates? No, Leah, we didn't meet in DC. A bunch of you guys were not. So here's what I want to do. First, I want to bring up some folks to the panel. For the folks on the panel, when I bring you up, I would like for you to do me a favor and stay on mute. I want to play a quick 5-second, a 5-minute video really quickly. This is your first time here. Well, welcome. Okay. And and then I want to come back. So if you are Kim, I'm good. Thank you though. If you are in the request box and you are specifically wanting to talk about Minneapolis, right? Please do me a favor and put a yellow heart in the comments so that I know. Philando Castile, I can't either. I can't. I can vividly see, like, all I have to do is say his name, and I can see all of that. But put a yellow heart in the comments if you are in my request box specifically to talk about Minnesota. And when I bring you up, if you could do me a favor and put your mods, can you help me? Yep, Alton Sterling too. Can you please help me put them on the panel? I see Wednesday. I see Blue Jacob. I see V Laurent. Here, I'll do Ed real quick as well. Can mods help me bring folks up, please? No worries, V. I got you. Can mods help me?
Hey, Sammy J. Haven't seen you in a while, girl.
Hey, I just need 1 second. I'm picking up my baby.
Okay, you're good. Go ahead and go on mute. I don't see some of you guys that are in here that have requested up with a yellow heart. You just want to listen? Got you, Wednesday. No worries.
TikTok's been weird, Dani.
Yeah, I know. I know. Larry Ellison got to see how he can fuck shit up first. Okay, so people that are, let me just say this, people that are requested, I'm going to say your name. If my mods can pay attention, when I say their names, if they put a yellow heart, could you bring them to the panel? So I have Kathy Quinton, I have Know Your History, I have Jose L. Diaz, I have Juana Antonio, I have Red Eye 314, I have Kat, I have Popeye, I have Carly Noel, and Mad Skull. If any of those people put a yellow heart, if we could go ahead and bring them up, that'd be great. And then when I bring you up, if you could just put yourself on mute for me really quickly until I get to you. Anybody else? The folks that are up here? Kat, Red Eye, Jose L. Diaz, Know Your History, Kathy Quinton. Any of you guys wanting to come up here and specifically talk about what happened in Minneapolis yesterday? No? Okay. So I'm going to pull up this video. And I want to set it up first. And then I just kind of want to bring you around. Because this is the end of this clip is, I was reminded of the end of this clip by the comments with people asking, well, why didn't she comply? Or Black people should just comply, or, they should just do whatever. And I have seen so many times over the course of my 50 plus years on this earth, white people's interactions with police officers be very, very different than what Black and brown interactions are allowed to be. I have literally seen white people. I saw a white dude chase an officer with a knife, chasing him around in circles. And the officer running from him and do everything just not to engage with him, not to unalive him, not to do anything. Like it's wild to me, the difference between those two things, right? It's just a different thing. Well, yeah, Dylan Roof taken to Burger King, right? But I'm talking about even when we talk about assessing a threat, right? It's just different. And the end of this quote by Ta-Nehisi Coates, he says something that is so profound that's just like this. Wasn't who white, Misha? Wasn't who white? I'm confused. What do you mean? Wasn't who white? Clarify it for me while I pull up this video real quick.
She's talking about the driver from yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, but so what I'm specifically talking about though is ICE wasn't there for white people. And this is what I think a lot of people may want to understand is that when white people are either actually doing it or being perceived to do it, to protect, to advocate, or to be an activist along the side of Black people, in the eyes of many law enforcement, you are now melanated. I just want to be clear. And if you don't recognize that, you should go talk to Loki Mulholland's mother. You should hear her. She's the woman, she's the white woman sitting at the lunch countertop in Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah, that's all it takes, Peach. That's all it takes. Ask Loki Mulholland's mother what it was like sitting at the countertop in Greensboro, North Carolina, and how the police and how other white people treated her for having the audacity to stand up for the rights of Black and brown people. Yeah, that's all it takes. Just so we're clear. But I'm gonna set up this video real quick for you guys because so I played this clip the other day, and the reason why I played it was after the White House shared a video on their social media accounts, and the video was of Maduro standing behind a podium saying, come get me, I'll be right here waiting for you. And then it cuts to an image of Marco Rubio behind a podium saying, if you don't know, now you know. And in the background, it's playing a Biggie Small song. And the White House played this video without editing and bleeping out the N-word. So the official social media account for the White House of the United States of America played a social media clip, a video that they put together that used the N-word. And in the social media clip, the N-word was in the song, right? And so so I played this video because if you don't know who Ta-Nehisi Coates is, mwah, brilliant, amazing, incredible. And Ta-Nehisi Coates is brilliant. And he was on a book tour, and he was at Evanston Township High School during this tour. This was 8 years ago. And this white girl stands up in the audience, and she's specifically asking him about white people using the N-word, hella, 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 Raja, even when singing along to Black music. And I want you to hear his response to that, and then we can talk about it right along with Michigan. You ready? Here we go.
Last week, Northwestern had this concert with Lil Uzi Vert. He uses the N-word profusely, like a ton. And there was an email sent out to students who went to this concert saying, you don't have a right to use this word, which I 100% agree with. Like as a white person, I don't have any right. I haven't until reparations are paid, until there's some sort of.
So I'm going to pause. And I paused the other day when I played this the first time. She says, I don't have any right to say that word until reparations are paid. Let me be really clear, white people. You don't ever have a fucking right. I don't care if they dish out reparations tomorrow. You still don't have a right to the word. So the right to use the N-word is not associated with reparations. So don't let this girl's statements get your ass beat somewhere. Okay? I say that in love. But here we go.
Giving back, there's no right, but what do you say to, I don't know what to do when I hear my friends using this word in a song. I don't know what to do when it's all the time.
So listen.
Words don't have meaning without context, okay?
Come on, Tom.
My wife refers to me as honey. That's accepted and okay between us. If we were walking down the street together and a strange woman referred to me as honey, That wouldn't be acceptable. The understanding is I have some sort of relationship with my wife. Hopefully I have no relationship with this strange woman. When I was young and I used to go see my family in Philadelphia where my dad was from, they would all call him Billy. His name is William Paul Coates. No one in Baltimore called him Billy, and had I referred to my father as Billy,
Would have been a problem.
that probably would have been a problem.
Yeah,
That's because the relationship between myself and my dad is not the same as the relationship between my dad and his mother and his sisters who he grew up with, right? We understand that. It's the same thing with words within the African American community or within any community. My wife, with her girlfriend, will use the word bitch. I do not join in. I don't, say, hey, I want to.
I do not join in.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
Right.
And perhaps more importantly, I don't have a desire to do it. You understand? A while ago, Dan Savage was going to have this show that he was going to call Hey Faggot. I'm not going to yell faggot at Dan Savage. I'm just not, that's not my relationship
Because
with
Dan Savage
the
belongs to
LGBT
that
community.
community.
And I understand that, and I'm okay with that. I don't have a desire to, yell out the word, faggot. I just don't have that. The question one must ask, if that's accepted and normal for groups of people, we understand that, it's normal actually for groups to use words that are derogatory in an ironic fashion.
It's normal for groups of people to use words that are normally derogatory, right? In a fashion within that group because of the relationship. Listen.
Why is there so much hand-wringing when black people do it? Black people are basically, however you feel about it, they're not outside of the normal rules and laws for humanity. I had a good friend who used to have this cabin in upstate New York, which he referred to as the white trash cabin. He was white. I would never refer to that cabin. I would never tell him I'm coming to your white trash cabin. I just wouldn't do that.
This is Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's T-A-N-E-H-I-S-I. Ta-Nehisi Coates. He's brilliant. This is how you, let me unmirror this real quickly. This is that's how you spell his name. This is one of his books. I recommend reading it. Okay. But let me let you hear the rest of what he's saying. Okay, you ready? Here we go. And then we're gonna finish this, we're gonna tie it all together.
You know what I mean? I think you understand why I wouldn't do it. The question one must ask is why so many white people have difficulty extending things that are basic laws, of how human beings interact to black people. And I think I know why.
Listen, this.
When you're white in this country, you're taught that everything belongs to you. You think you have a right to everything. You have a right to go where you, and you're conditioned this way. It's not, because your hair is a texture or your skin is light. It's the fact that the laws and the culture tell you this. You have a right to go where you want to go, do what you want to do, be however, and people just got to accommodate themselves to you. So here comes this word that, you feel like you invented. And now somebody will tell you how to use a word that you invented. Why can't I use it? Everyone else gets to use it. You know what? That's racism that I don't get to use it. That's racist against me. I have to inconvenience myself and hear this song and I can't sing along? How come I can't sing along? You know what I mean? And I think, for white people,
listen,
I think the experience of being a hip hop fan and not being able to use the word nigga is actually very, very insightful. It will give you just a little peek into the world of what it means to be black. Because
why?
Because to be black is to walk through the world and watch people doing things that you cannot do, that you can't join in and do. And so I think there's actually a lot to be learned from refraining.
So I put this link in my link tree. So if you want to watch this video, you can go to my link tree and watch it. But when I ran across this video 6-7 years ago, I was like, it's a perfect explanation about how words are utilized all the time. Derogatory words are utilized within groups of people. And it's the relationship. Yes, Amy, I can. It's the relationship within those groups of people that make it accepted, that make it commonplace for that to be the thing that occurs. And the fact that other people don't. Stop. Did you just do 6, 7? Okay, I can't with you. But he's brilliant when he says, my wife, she within her girlfriend, she uses the name bitch. I do not join in, right? And then he said this, he said, and more importantly, I don't have the desire. And that for me is like really important, because you have to ask yourself as a white person, why do you have the desire to use the word? Whether you're singing along or not singing along, why is that even a desire that you have? And then when he says at the end that it gives you a glimpse, just a small peek of what it's like to be a Black person, because you walk around your entire life watching people do things that you do not get to do. And that's the truth. We watch people walk into stores. We watch people talk to people in positions of authority. Y'all listen, just last night, thank you, Sandy. And appreciate you for whoever just became a super fan. Appreciate you. Let me say this. Last night, I happened to be watching an episode of Hoarders. And the episode was from 2019. It's this couple in the state of Washington. And the code enforcement officer is coming by because they actually have 250 tons of hoarding trash in their property. And the city, after 3 years, is finally about to do abatement for them. And I watched the white police officer walk up to his property, and he's standing, and I'm watching this old white man saying, "You get off my property. Ain't nobody telling you can just get the hell out of here." And I thought, we don't get to, you know what I mean? Yeah, we don't get to. So anyway, all right, folks that are up here on the panel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So who do I have first? I have Mad Skull. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Dani.
What you got for me?
So, listening to the video you just played remind me of a friend I had. I'm not in America. Let's just say I'm in Grand Cayman. I've interacted with a lot of Americans, a lot of Caucasians. And I had a Caucasian friend. We were driving and singing a Migos song. And the N-word came up. And he said it out. And I stopped the car and I stopped the music and I looked at him and I said, as much as you hang around me, that word is not for you. You don't understand where it comes from. You don't understand why it's not for you at this point. He questioned it. He went and he got upset. Now me and him is no longer friends because of that. Because one, he felt he is, to say the word, it's in the song, meaning it's in the song. I'm singing the words of the song. I can say it. No.
Yeah.
And then he tries to go and say, in Africa, some tribe in Africa, the Kosa tribe, they use the N-word. The N-word in their language means to give.
It ain't the same word.
It's not the same word. It's two different words. You cannot do that. We had a big argument for about a whole 4 hours worth sitting on the side of the road arguing, and then I cut ties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people will not understand the meaning as to why we as Black people, we say to each other, because we in ourselves, we are trying to move it from our derogatory saying that it was coined with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we use it in our group as a friendship thing.
Mm-hmm.
That person is mine, that person is mine. He is Black, he is Black.
Right.
We will not look at a Caucasian person and say, yo, that my, right? Because it will not coin. Now, to move towards yesterday's incident, because I've watched that religiously in the past 24 hours. I am a former police. I came out of the force because of racial bias where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am not from the country where I am. I'm from Jamaica. I came over here and I became a police. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it where racial bias happen. Where as soon as something happened over here, it's a Jamaican being blamed for it. Or when it is known not to be a Jamaican, the Jamaican is getting blamed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I left. Watching that video yesterday, I watched it from 3 different angles. The back, the side, and the front. I've got all 3 videos to watch it from all angles. And looking at it, that ICE officer had no justification to pull his sidearm and fire at that lady.
Right. None.
Training-wise, the sidearm is the last resort of a de-escalation method in any confrontation.
Yep.
And in their law over there that they so beautifully portrayed and put out, it states that no officer, law enforcement, should use their sidearm to stop a moving vehicle or try to bring it to a halt.
Yep.
Because exactly what happened yesterday can happen. If he had shot her and she didn't hit that car on the side, what if she had hit 4 other pedestrians?
Yep. Exactly.
Who they would have blamed? The dead lady for hitting those pedestrians?
Right.
She did not pose a threat to that ICE officer in any means. She reversed with her tire to the left to angle her way to go to the right.
Yep.
Basic driver's knowledge.
Yep.
And she turned her tire to the right and was moving. And he walked around in front of her and pulled that trigger 3 times.
Sure did.
In front of her home.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, oh, he is self-defense. There is no self-defense behind that. And they sent out a press release, but he went to the hospital. I watched the video and that man walked into that Tahoe and drove away. Perfectly fine. And trust me, I've been hit by cars. 6 times I've been hit by a car. And I know after getting hit by a car, there's no way you can walk that calmly. And much less to drive.
Right. That's the part, is that he didn't have any bodily injury. There was no threat of deadly force against him or anyone else. And the department policy is very clear. You don't get to pull your firearm and fire it into a vehicle when it's fleeing just to get it to stop or any of those things.
There is no justification. The fact that he so casually did it,
mm-hmm.
and now they're claiming self-defense where there is no claim of self-defense, is absurd. And which is why I got out of law enforcement and I refuse to go back into law enforcement.
Yeah.
You cannot do these things. Law enforcement, their main goal in their job is preservation of life, not taking it.
It's supposed to be.
Even after the shooting, I heard the doctor on the side say, I'm a physician. People is arguing that the fact that he said he's a physician means he's not a doctor. A doctor is a physician.
Yeah.
He let me go over there and check on her. No, I don't care. We have medics. Ambulance is on the way. Yet still you guys still block the ambulance 4 blocks down the road from getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, Dragon, I don't expect for him to have remorse. I really don't.
It is stupid and it hurts because now children is without a mother.
She has 3 children.
A partner is without their own partner. And you are telling me that, that man is just going to walk?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I know that right now, yes, she has 3 children. So for those of y'all who do not know, she has a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old from her first marriage. She has a 6-year-old from her second marriage. The father of the 6-year-old was a military veteran who the second spouse is deceased. So let me just, she's had, hold on, y'all, 3 children, 2 children, the 15 and 12-year-old are from her first marriage. The 6-year-old is from her second marriage. Her second marriage was to a veteran who had PTSD, who was deceased in 2023. Her current partner is who she lived with in Minneapolis with the 6-year-old. The 15 and 12-year-old did not live with her, but she lived with the 6-year-old. And she'd only been in Minneapolis for a year. She's originally from Colorado. So yeah,
she literally knows no one there.
Right. Yep. She's only lived there for a year.
She went for a fresh start and ended up losing her life because some trigger happy dummy wanted to pull that trigger.
But this is not the first time. Do y'all not remember the other 2 people that the ICE agent, there's a court case now, and her and oh my God, why can't I think of her name right now? It's in my link tree somewhere. But the ICE agent pulled the weapon and literally called her a bitch. Remember? Right. In Chicago.
Yeah, Keith.
In Chicago. But it was another woman, though. She was pew-pewed. So hold on. There were 7 bullets were fired, but she had 5 wounds. Yeah, and her attorney, when her attorney stood in the courtroom, he said, Your Honor, I'm ready to play the clip right now. We can play the video right now. Because he knows exactly what it says. But the ICE agent was trigger happy. This is not the only time that we're seeing this. There's another video.
Too trigger happy in this day and age. It makes no sense. Not because you have a sidearm on your waist. It is meant to be used all the time. I've done years in policing, and I've never, not even my pepper spray or my button I once used, and I've arrested over 658 people.
Yep. So let me see. Let me pull this up. So Chicago.
They are putting people in these roles to protect, and they're not doing mental evaluation on them. They're not seeing what their background is. Most of these people now that are in these positions in America that are wielding legal sidearms, they have been illegally doing this for years.
Yeah.
But because they want to do it legally where there's no repercussion, they go into the force, they go into ICE, they go into the many different law enforcement agencies where they can get away with this foolishness. So and it is wrong.
Here's my thing. So there are two sides to this. So
Thanks for this, guys.
yeah, no, you're really welcome, and I appreciate your input as a police officer. Here's what I would say is that there is a distinction. So there are bad apples like this within law enforcement, and there has been for a long time. I do believe that there is a difference between the severity of what we are seeing, right, with law enforcement, and what's happening with ICE. ICE is a different game. ICE is like ICE is like taking as many of those bad apples within the police force as you can, putting them all under a federal umbrella and saying, oh, you're going to be untouchable, so go do whatever you want to do. We see them too often not having anywhere near enough training to do the things that they are doing. They're not equipped. They don't have the experience. And in my humble ass opinion, I think that there are too many of them have the unconscious and maybe even conscious bias that makes them dangerous to Black and brown people all across the country. So
It is true. A bad system is going to produce bad apples. And it's not going to change unless people do something about it.
mm-hmm.
We are the ones that put people in government. If we don't vote for them, they cannot be there. Not saying if we put somebody else there, they might not have the same power trip and do the same thing. But we need to scrutinize how we vote very, very meticulously.
I think
because it is too much repeat over the years of government that the same thing is happening all back and forth. It's coming down and it's coming down. Yes, those in power now are training the others to come do the same thing as them. But once we realize that if we choose not to vote, they will not be there, and the people that is there will have to leave because they will not have that support system to go back in there to push the same narrative that they are pushing now. The narrative really needs to change.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the reality is this is going to be, I don't think that it is a surprise that this is what's happened in Minneapolis, which for Minneapolis folks, it's going to be triggering because this is where George Floyd happened, right? It's going to be a tough road for Minnesota and for Minneapolis for sure. Yeah. And for the person for just to be clear, if you all haven't seen it, for Michael who said, oh, the bullet went through the front window, the bullet went through the furthest to the right of the front window that you could be. Let me just show you all so that you can see it. Because to give you an idea, no, this was not head on. This is the only thing I'm not going to show you. Hold on, let me take this down. And then I want to get Lisa and Sammy J in here too. So let me just show you all. It was damn near not in the front of the vehicle. Y'all see that?
No, you leave the car.
You see that now? Shows that he was not in front of the car.
He was on the side.
He was way out of danger. That shot should not have been taken.
Yes, Danny.
And even after that shot, he still fired two more from behind.
Correct. Sure did. He's right here. This is the line of fire.
If you look at the wheel, you see that it's to the right.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
Investigators are going to look at this and say, "Oh, he was in front. He's in the right for this." That's because they paid the narrative that it's self-defense. This is way far from self-defense.
100%. And here's my thing. When you read the DOJ's, yeah, he did place himself, but it really doesn't. So whether he did or he did, the bottom line is very simple, though. I mean, sure, Jen. I think for me, it doesn't even matter to me whether he was in front, behind. The bottom line is the shot should have never been fired. The shot should have never been fired because according to the DOJ's use of force policy, the criteria for him to be able to even use deadly force was not met. So whether it was or wasn't the actual line of fire, whether he was in front of the car, beside the car, like literally none of that actually matters according to the own DOJ policy. That's it. What's up, Jen?
Hey, I'll make this pretty quick and listen. I acknowledge this is going to be an uncomfortable message for a lot of people because a lot of people definitely have their minds made up about like what happened. I'll just say this. I'll preface my opinion with this. I do this for a living. I actually investigate traffic collisions for a living. I break down video for a living, and I prepare this stuff for court for my job. So I am talking from a place where I say professional opinion. That's my opinion. We don't have maybe all the angles of all the videos that I've seen so far. I do think they're going to have teeth in some of their legal arguments. And I'm saying this from experience, right? I'm saying this because I've seen it in court. I've been in court. I've argued as an expert witness in court. So what they're going to use as part of their defense is that, number one, she was impeding traffic, and that was the reason for detaining her. Unfortunately for this case, there are several witnesses who already came out on camera saying that's what they saw. So that's very unfortunate, right? Because what we see in the video, we don't see that. We see a car going past her, and we see her going to wave through more traffic, right? Maybe she's done at that point. She's, she feels like she served her purpose. We'll never know what was in her head at that point.
But here's the issue that I have with that, right? Just because I see somebody in a car and it looks like that car is impeding traffic, I can see a car there, but I don't know if that's actually what the car is doing. I don't know if the car. Correct. I don't know whether. Right. So this is.
Unfortunately, the witnesses say that's what she was doing.
Right, but my point is, the witnesses can say that. I hear that. The witness can say that. But the reality is the witness doesn't know if that's actually what she was doing, if that was her intent, if it wasn't. So that for me doesn't. I don't really.
No, I get it's not like hard proof, but it's not going to bode well, is all I'm saying, right? Because they were eyewitness people. They said that they were there, and that's what they saw. They also said that they saw her visibly protesting ICE, and that was their perception, that was her intent. Now, do they also have the way to say I was in her head? They do not, right? And that wouldn't fly. But I'm just going to say it's not going to bode well. I'm not going to say which way it's going to go. I also am not Miss Cleo, right? But
Jen, even if she's protesting ICE, she's not a violent protester. They say she blocked the road. In the video, she waved 2 cars past. Both of them passed. The ICE agent that got out of the vehicle, she waved him as you see her hand waving him to go. I'm not arguing any of that. He chose to get out of the vehicle and approach her vehicle.
Well, listen, I'm gonna say a couple more points and then I'll drop. But here's the thing. I'm just telling you what I think they're going to use. That's my anticipation because their witness testimony saying what they saw. They're saying that yes, she was out there visibly protesting them and that she was parked. Several people used the word parked. Now that's not what we see in the video. I understand that. So I'm acknowledging everything you guys have already said. What I will say, they're also going to say, is that there is instructions in their manual that says they cannot use lethal force against a fleeing vehicle. I don't think that's what they're going to say. I think what they will say is that at the point in which the agent decided to use that force, that vehicle was a threat. Now, you guys, there's a lot of people who disagree with this, but here's what I'm going to tell you. There were 1.3 seconds that elapsed from the time that she started moving forward until the time that the first discharge was done from his weapon. 1.3 seconds. And I'm going to tell you from my experience, you can argue it all day long, and I'm hoping that, there will be this argument in court. But I was listening to a panelist on Don Lemon's live yesterday as well, and she said, you have to remember that while we have the advantage of slowing this down to half speed, quarter speed, or whatever, breaking down frame by frame, she's like, you have to remember that the agent who was there didn't have that advantage.
So, and here's why I'm going to disagree. Hold on. I just want to pause, and I hear what you're going to say. They say that all the fucking time, Jen. Every time there is an argument about why a cop killed somebody, that's the fucking argument every time. And here's my thing. If you don't have enough training to be able to discern what is deadly force and what is not deadly force in a vehicle from somebody where you could just simply get out of the way, you shouldn't be a fucking ICE agent. Period. That's not the standard. But the other thing is,
I agree. Hold on. I'm going to agree with you on that. And here's what I think the main argument should be, is that he should have never put himself there. Jen. He escalated that to a point where it didn't need to be, and he put himself in harm's way.
Can I?
Jen, Jen, I'm not sure if you were here when I first started. I am a former officer. All of that he did was way out of proportion. He had no right to approach our vehicle. And again, an ICE agent cannot lawfully detain an American citizen.
Well, the angle that they're going to use is that based on witness statement, she was impeding operations. I'm not saying it was right, you guys. By the way, I'm not arguing for them, and I'm not on ICE defense.
Him coming out to say he's going to detain her was illegal because he can't detain her.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. I don't think they should have been there in the first place. And at the point where they decided to rush her vehicle, she was not posing a danger to anybody. We all agree on that. So they escalated it for no reason. He put himself in harm's way for no reason. And in my opinion, in a court case, that's where you're going to get the most leverage.
And I'm going to tell you where they lose that. I'm going to tell you where they lose the argument, Jen, is specifically according to their own guidelines. Even with that 1 to 2 seconds where the officer isn't supposed to be able to understand if the vehicle is or isn't a threat, even when they say that, it doesn't matter, because according to DOJ's deadly use of force policy, the threat of deadly use of force has to come from something other than the vehicle. It specifically spells it out in the manual. It says specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless, number 1, a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle, or number 2, the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer or others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist. None of those conditions were met.
One is what they're going to use, most likely. Now,
what do you mean?
Problem. And well, because what they're going to say is that at the time that she started forward, and again, we have this advantage of looking at the video from a perspective that the agent didn't have. I feel that what they're going to argue is that at the moment when I decided to draw my weapon, and whether the weapon was at his side or whether it was holstered at the time.
No, I can show you when the weapon was. Have you seen the latest video? He pulls the weapon. He pulls the weapon before she even moves forward. Just to be clear, he draws his weapon prior. So let me just hold on. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I need to probably, if there's more video than I've seen. The
Here.
one I've seen is the one that has been pretty viral. The one where the lady's screaming and she's
No. So I'm gonna show you.
That
This
one.
is but look.
Yeah.
This one, which just came out like 4 hours ago. He pulls the weapon here. He pulls the weapon as she's still backing up.
Well, hold on. Can you move your camera to the right? I mean, to the left a little bit.
Yeah. So watch. He pulls his weapon. I'm going to try to pause it. Weapon pulled.
Okay.
He walks
Here's
in front of her
So
and
you
pulls the
guys-
weapon.
You guys can agree or disagree. It's pretty simultaneous, but when I
But
break it down on my video software,
Now, Jen, she's backing up when he
she's already starting. I'm just going to tell you what I saw, right? As somebody who does this for a living. She's already starting forward at the time that his weapon comes out.
But it doesn't matter. And here's the reason why that doesn't matter, Jen. The policy says that the vehicle has to be operated in a manner that threatens to cause.
That's what they're going to say.
But
I think
listen,
that's what they're going to say.
but they can't, because here's what has to happen. It says the vehicle has to be operated in a manner that can either cause death or a serious bodily injury, and there's no other objectively reasonable means of defense. Those are two conditions. So,
I think that's what they're going to try.
but you're not understanding. Here's what I'm saying.
Jen,
The other reasonable means of defense is to get the fuck out the way of the car.
Well, here's the thing.
What we're
Positioning
trying
himself-
to say, she's in reverse and he's standing in front. If you are standing in front of a reversing vehicle, are you in any danger?
No, I'm telling you that when I broke it down and I looked very carefully about the moment when she started forward.
But that doesn't
it's
matter,
after
though.
It's after that, and he's still in front of her car.
But that
And
doesn't
I know a lot of
matter.
People have frozen frames, and they're like, "Well, his feet are out of the way, and he had plenty of
Can
time."
I wait?
What I'm trying to tell you guys is, in a court, when they say 1.3 seconds, that's not time to assess a situation, figure out what I'm going to do.
It is 1.2 seconds. That is horseshit. I see people with their cars in their driveways, and the car moves forward in 1.2 seconds. You know that car is not going to kill you because the car is not going 1 mile an hour. There's no deadly threat.
Well, listen, I know I was risking coming up here because there's
1.3 seconds is more than enough to make.
I'm telling you what I've seen in court. That's all I'm basing it on.
But
I've been through.
Likewise.
I've been through it.
Likewise.
I've had less time to make split decision whether to use sidearms, pepper spray, or a button that can break a bone.
I understand that. I'm not saying what he did was right, you guys. I want to be very clear about this. Very clear. I'm not defending what he did. I'm not defending where he was. I'm not defending their presence, period. Okay? All I'm telling you is, based on my experience, what I anticipate what their arguments are going to be. And when they break it down and when they say there's 1.3 seconds, they're going to say that's consistent with their training. They're going to say it's consistent with whatever. Now,
but it is not consistent with their policy.
Well, I'm telling you that they're going to argue. I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm not going to say that they're right. I'm just telling you what I think they're going to do.
I don't really understand what that matters, what they're going to argue. We know that they're going to argue things that don't make sense.
Yeah, I don't care. The bottom line is, though, is from the minute that this when she moves in reverse, from the minute that she backs up, he steps in front, and as soon as she even goes to switch the gear, he pulls his firearm. He doesn't wait to see if she's switching her gear to do anything different. He pulls the firearm. According to the policy, he can't. He cannot pull that power.
And his firearm should not have been out. I think they're going to have some teeth in this.
Jen,
I think,
of course they're going to argue that. They have to argue.
No, but I think they're going to have some teeth in it, because I'll tell you what happens. At first, her wheels are turned to the left, right? Then she backs up, and then eventually they're turned to the right. Obviously, we can tell from the direction her car went after the fact that we know what her intention was. What I'm going to tell you, what they're going to argue in court, is that from the agent's perspective, he wasn't able to tell if she was coming straight at him, which is why he's going to say what he perceived.
Jen, he is a driver. You are reversing to go to the left so you can turn right. Your wheel is obviously, when you stop to switch gear, your wheel is still going to be pointed to the left, which is his direction. And you see that it moved while you are standing at the wheel, looking down to pull your side arms. So you are seeing the wheel.
No,
why did you still pull it?
Listen, I'm just going to tell you guys this. In 1 second, we feel we have all the time in the world, but we don't.
Here's what I will say to you.
Of an eye, this transpired. And so that's what they're going to say is like, look, and this is again, you know, listening to other people on panelists that clearly have some legal background. They're going to say like, look, there wasn't enough time to discern it. I'm not even really here to say like whether this is justifiable. I'm not trying to say that because I don't think they should have been there in the first place. And I don't think he should have put himself in that position. I don't think they had any need to go escalate the way that they did. I definitely don't think they should. I think this whole agency should be abolished. But my biggest issue is that there's no accountability. It doesn't even matter what legislation comes from this
So,
if they're not
Jen,
going to be held accountable.
can I ask you a question? When you do this for a living, are you preparing it for the prosecution or the defense?
I do both.
On state, local, or federal?
I've worked on a couple of federal cases, but mostly they're going to be state and local.
Gotcha. So, I think my point is that any claim that they make, it doesn't meet the standard outline. That vehicle cannot be deadly force according to their own policy. I don't give a fuck if, even if he thought the vehicle was a threat, the policy says the threat must be something other than the vehicle.
Except for when the vehicle is being used in that way.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's not it. That's not what it says. I'm going to read it again. It says a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle, or, and this next part, there's two parts to it. It says, or that vehicle is being operated in a manner to cause death or serious physical injury.
That's the part they're going to use.
Except they can't, because she was not. Listen, here's what I'm saying. They can't use that, number one, because she wasn't even going a fucking mile an hour. She could not cause serious bodily injury, nor could she kill anybody at that moment. So it wasn't being operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious bodily injury. And then it says there's also a contingency, though. Hold on, I got to get to the second part. Because that one clause is not the only condition. It says that vehicle has to be being operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury, and no other reasonable means of defense appears to exist. So in order for them to even use the second part of this policy, both of those two things would have to be present. And they're not.
First of all, you can't use a mile an hour as a threshold for whether somebody will get seriously harmed or unalived from a vehicle. I've seen cases. Hold on.
As a survivor of someone that got hit by a car 6 times.
I've been in vehicle accidents myself. You guys,
have you as a person, Jen, my question to you, have you
my
as a
neighbor
person
was
been hit by a car?
unalived from a vehicle idling. So don't tell me my very next door neighbor was unalived from a vehicle that was going idle speed. So you cannot tell me that that can't happen.
Nobody said that it can happen.
I'm telling you, you can't use it as a threshold to anticipate whether it can happen or not. I'm telling you.
I want to know, why are we even talking about this? Because yesterday, the reason why you know that they know that this is not going to stand up in court. This is how you know, because what Kristi Noem said in that press conference was that the agents were stuck in the snow, and the woman was trying to ram them with her car while they were stuck in the snow.
Well, that
Right,
part's a
so the
blatant
fact-
lie.
And so why would they lie if they knew that they had probable cause to do everything and everything was just great and you know what I mean? They're not
think
gonna
they're
lie
stupid.
about it.
Think that they're stupid. Okay, so I don't know why they're throwing in things that are
There's a lot of background noise, man.
when they have
Leave me for a second.
when they have some teeth somewhere, right? I don't know. They're just dumb. I don't think they're idiots.
And I also don't understand, Jen, why it matters what they are going to argue in court. It doesn't even matter what the judge finds. I mean,
Well,
Dani
here's
said
why I
that
think.
earlier.
Yeah,
Dani said that earlier. It does not matter.
The only reason why I'm offering this is because when I approach a court case, right, and when I work with attorneys that are approaching a court case, we look for the angles that are most likely to prove the point or most likely to gain ground in the direction that you want, right? So what I'm trying to offer is that we may not have as much teeth as we think on certain aspects. Where I think we would be wiser to spend our efforts is any fucking accountability on behalf of this agency. With Greg Bovino and Kristi Noem at the helm, we're getting zero. It almost doesn't even matter what the rules are because they don't care. We've seen blatant video of people firing, the less lethal things at people's heads, and then they say, no, that didn't happen, or we were just justified in doing it. What I'm trying to say is that instead of arguing things where we may or may not have actual teeth in the game, argue that, like, I think we should all get on board, and I would agree with something like a general strike if we could get enough people to do it, or something where we actually get accountability somewhere, anywhere.
Folks, be respectful in the comments, please.
That's where I'm going with this. Is like when we approach a case, and listen, I'm on Zoom calls all day long talking about strategy on cases. I think that we'd be better off spending our energy and our efforts in a place where I think we can gain the most ground. Okay? These are going to end up being details where they may or may not.
I have a question for you.
Hold on, let her finish, and then you can ask the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm offering this only as a point to say, is there a direction we could all go in, link arms, and say, this is what we want? Overall, yes, this points to a much bigger issue. So instead of going over the details of this case, which again, I've seen this in history, I've seen this in court cases, and that's why I'm saying, I'm not saying ignore it. I'm not saying accept it. Let's be very, very clear on that. I'm not even defending what they're doing. What I'm saying is, can we angle our arguments? Can we angle our efforts towards something that's likely to get us the most amount of ground? That's it.
Yeah, I still, the whole thing, the reason why we're talking about the details is because Dani was talking to this guy that was up here, right? That was arguing that it was a totally, good shoot and blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? That she was trying to run him down with her car, like all these things. And that's why Dani was taking him through it. I still do not understand why we care what they're going to argue in court. We know they're going to argue whatever. They're going to throw spaghetti at the wall in court, right? That's why you got Kristi Noem out there already trying to win in the court of public opinion by straight out lying, right?
I have two questions for you.
Okay. But it does not really matter. What matters is what we know, what factually happened, what we can see with our own eyes. And us arguing about what a court's going to do or what somebody's going to argue in court has no relevance on any of it, as far as I can see. That's just my thing. And I was pre-law, so I love digging into the law. I think what you're saying is fascinating. I would love to talk to you about it sometime, about your work. But in this case, I don't see the relevance. I really don't. I don't see why we're digging into legal theory and what a court's going to do, because Dani made the point multiple times today when she was talking to this young man. She was like, I don't care what a court decides. I don't care what they argue. I don't care what their excuse is. She was like, the facts of the matter is he had no right to pull his weapon. They had no right to do what they did. They unalived that woman in cold blood. That's the point. And the point is that whatever argument that they're making, it doesn't matter, because we saw all the arguments that they make. We've seen them get off. We've seen Zimmerman get off for Trayvon Martin. We've seen stuff happen in the LA riots, right? It's like we've seen them get off with their fucking arguments. So their arguments are irrelevant at this point. That's what they say after they do some dumb, messed up shit and take somebody's life.
Let me just say this. When we talk about what arguments, quote unquote, might have teeth, this is the reason that I am having the very intense reaction to what you're saying, the way that I am, is because it is not a legal argument rooted in fact that will have teeth. It will be an argument that has been used time and time again on behalf of really poorly trained, really prejudiced, bigoted, hateful fucking people that are operating as officers and federal agents that have no business having a firearm and being on the streets and communities. I'm having the very visceral reaction to it is because it is not that it has a legal teeth. There's the legalities. If I look at the legalities of this policy, there must be two conditions that are met. The first condition is that that vehicle has to be being operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury. That is going to be not based on what is possible, but what is most likely to be reasonable. So reasonably, we would not think that a vehicle, the vast majority of the time, is going to be able to cause death or by serious bodily harm after it's just been in reverse and it's simply changing gears. That would be number one. But the second condition that must be met is there has to be no other objectionably reasonable means of defense that exist. And that's not the case. There was another reasonable defense. Get the fuck out the way. And he was almost out the way because at the time when this happens, we see his feet literally not in front of the tires. His feet are not in front of the tires of this car, period. There were other reasonable means to this ending rather than firing your weapon into this car. And so while there might be teeth in court, they're not legal teeth. It's a fucking corrupt justice system that always see. This is, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but Donald Trump ran on the platform of giving police officers fucking immunity all the way around. I don't know if you all remember this or not, but that's the deal. He ran on giving officers complete immunity. So for me, and I would imagine many other black and brown people out there to hear, I can't. I'm just going to be real frank. I can't hear another argument about like why this might make sense. It doesn't make fucking sense. There is no actual legal basis for the actions that this person took. Can they make an argument and the court veer on their sides? Fuck yeah, we see Trump do it all the time. He's making arguments before the Supreme Court that literally aren't based in legal anything, but they're ruling in his fucking favor. Why? Because they're a corrupt system. And that's why I'm having the very intense reaction to what is being said. All the way around the board. And Jen, I know you don't mean anything at all. I think it is your choice of words that has me going, because in order for them to have legal argument, it would need to meet the conditions of the legal policy, and it does not do that.
And I'll just say this, be careful with what we're looking at. Like, I'll just use this example of the photo that you showed of where the first hole went through the windshield and how far it was, and we're saying this is the angle. The angle that we're looking at is the angle of the person who took the photo, not the angle of where the agent was when that.
And for me, I don't even care where the angle is.
Yeah, there's another video.
I don't even. Let me just be clear though. I do not listen to me with all of my heart. I do not give a fuck if the bullet went through the front of the windshield. I don't care. I don't care because there never should have been a bullet through the windshield, whether it went through the front or the side or the fucking, I don't care, because it should not have been there because the conditions were not met for deadly force.
Earlier you said organize a strike and so forth. If you look at yesterday, which was a peaceful protest, someone lost their life to a trigger-happy agent. Do you think a strike would not result in more people losing their life if in a more trigger-happy one that they do it?
Well, strike doesn't. I'm not really sure if what you're saying, describing as a strike, is what I'm thinking of as a strike.
Either way you take it, Jen. People standing up against law enforcement and ICE, we've seen it in the past where people stood up and so them a strike and them a protest. And them use tear gas, them injured a lot of people as a peaceful strike, a peaceful protest. They're going to get trigger happy again. They will always be trigger happy. It's why they're in the job, most of them right now. Because they was trigger happy on the front line in normal uniform and they get in problems. Now they are trigger happy in an unmarked vehicle, no badges, saying that they're ICE. It's trigger happy. They're not going to get out of it.
And part of the issue that I'm having with this is that
my thing is, Jen, their jobs again is preservation of life. Your job is not to take life. You swore an oath to preservation of life.
Well, let me just say this. That's true for you. That's true for you as a police officer. That's not true for these ICE agents. That's not the oath that they took.
It's not, because they don't care about life.
Yeah, no, these are ICE agents. They were not sworn. They didn't sign up to serve and protect. Yeah, they didn't sign up to serve and protect. But what they did do, and what they do have, is a use of deadly force policy, and the actions that took place yesterday do not meet the conditions outlined by the DOJ.
Yeah, I just want to say too, a lot of these ICE officers were basicsers. I just did a report on our live a couple weeks ago about how they're only being trained 6 weeks instead of 16. That a lot of them have criminal records and they're still putting them out on the street. They're not waiting for background checks. They're not even waiting for party favors tests to come back. They're sending them down to training. The one guy was down there in training in Georgia and asked for an excuse from class so he can go to court on a pew-pew charge. Like, these are the people that are being trained and they're being treated even before their background checks come back. And a lot of them, once their background checks come back in 6 months to a year, they're finding that they have criminal charges, violent criminal charges. Okay. These are the ICE agents out in the street. I want to say another thing. One of the reporters asked Christy Noem yesterday about a past incident with the same officer. That he had a past incident, a similar incident with the same officer, and wanted the report on that, and she said that she would get it for them. So she acknowledged that there was previous conduct with this officer. I also want to say, Jen, that there is a video from the front where you don't have to look at the side, you don't have to guess, you can see from the front. He was standing a couple feet off from the side of her car. When she backed up, he unholstered his weapon and moved toward the car and leaned across catty corner towards the side front of her car and aimed at her windshield. That's why you have the first bullet through the windshield. So it was absolutely the angle that Dani was showing, because you can see it in the video. Okay?
Yeah, I'd like to see that one from the front.
One last thing, because I got to go, hon. Got to go. Okay, that young man was up here and he got mad at Dani, not because he was trying to convince her. I mean, he was trying to convince her, but he was more trying to convince himself. Because if he can't convince himself, he can't convince her, he can't convince himself, and then he's got to look at himself and why he's trying to stand up for this regime and for something that was so blatantly, disgustingly, just cold blood. You know, what we saw. We saw what we saw. You can't tell us that our eyes don't see what they see. I don't care. about what they're going to argue in court. I could give a rat's ass what they're going to argue in court. I really, it doesn't
and
matter.
actually, Lisa, that was kind of my point, which is like, this is what they're going to argue, and I don't think we should be putting all of our efforts on the minutia. I think we should be focusing on the bigger picture. As Dani was saying, the bigger picture is why were they there in the first place? The bigger picture is why are they escalating toward people like this? Why are they trying to detain people in the fashion that they're doing? Why are they carrying on open firearms? Those are the bigger questions I think we should be focused on. That's kind of my point. And I definitely I don't think I came across that way because I saw some comments about I'm trying to be contrarian. I'm not. I'm trying to say we only have so much battery energy life in ourselves. We only have so much energy every day. And should we be spending it on minutia that's less likely to hold teeth versus the bigger picture, which is, yes, that's where I think we should be focusing our efforts, where we can gain more ground, so bigger issues. And like you said, yeah, maybe there's more videos. Not all of us are forensic experts, but the bigger picture is what I think we should be focusing on. That was my point.
And Dani, before I go, you freaking cooked today, Queen, as always.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Lise. Yeah, I'm just here's what I will offer folks. And when I say this, I hope y'all hear me how I mean it. What I would say to non-melanated people talking about this to melanated people, I don't have a hard stop today, guys. I would recommend understanding that it does not matter for us whether the victim is white or not. They didn't give a shit because they were there for brown people. And I think I'm having this very whatever reaction to this is because, quite frankly, for me, I am tired of hearing anyone talk about how these people killing people could be in any way, shape, or form justified. I'm just over it. I don't give a fuck if someone's protesting in the street. I don't give a fuck if somebody laid down and blocked traffic. You don't get to kill people because they're in your fucking way. I'm just tired of it. I am tired of any life that isn't white, Christian, cis, hetero, and Zionist not mattering. I'm really fucking tired of it. And I am tired of people watching people die and then saying, why didn't you just do what the police said? If you don't miss me with that bullshit, I'm just tired. I listen to people argue. The whole entire world watched. Sherry, come on up today because you have an issue today, and you and I have talked before, so let's talk. Sherry, I would love for you to come get on the panel. I would love for you to come get on the panel, because what I've heard from you in the comments is, why is it okay to disrespect law enforcement? Why is it okay for law enforcement to fucking kill people for not doing something that they say? You don't get to kill people who don't follow your direction.
Dani, I can drop down to make room. And I just want to reiterate real quick that I hope that you didn't receive it as me trying to justify that action. That's definitely not what I was trying to say. So I hope that didn't come from me. That wasn't my intention at all. I was just trying to say, like, why don't we focus on the bigger picture? And that was it. So I can drop down and make room for sure.
All right.
All right.
So you are saying that she
Appreciate you, Jen.
disrespected law enforcement. One, ICE is not a law enforcement agency. they are a remand agency, not a law enforcement agency. 2, ICE has no right going to that lady's vehicle to board them and detain. 3, if any one of them come to you and put a bullet in you, hope so you feel the same way. Since you want to say that, because there's no way you can say, yo, okay, she was disrespecting ICE agents, so they had a reason to shoot her and kill her. That means you don't respect life and you don't see life for what it is.
Sherry, can you join the panel? Sherry and I know each other. Because Sherry, you have your settings set to where I can't bring you up.
Dani, before you go in with Sherry, can I just add one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just wanted to add real quick that I find it interesting, and I think it's good that everybody's attention is on ICE's unjustifiable actions yesterday against an American citizen, a white woman who should be alive today. But I also want to point out that 2025 was the deadliest year for people in ICE detention.
Yep.
There were over 30 people who died in ICE detention facilities last year.
Yep.
And I don't think that's been talked about enough. But while we're on the topic of people dying because of ICE actions, I want this to be part of the conversation. Actually, I mean, I'd really appreciate it anyway.
Sherry, just hit the request button.
That's an average of about one person every 10 days. That looks like me more than likely, and nobody really seems to care.
Right.
You know, but it's a white woman, and it happened on video. I think it tends to be different when it happens on video, right?
Not always. Not for Black people, it don't.
Well, that's a good point. But also, we saw it on video. This happened in broad daylight with people standing in the streets reporting, screaming at them, and there's no telling what's happening to people in these facilities. And when over 30 people die within a year, we should all be concerned. That's the main thing I wanted to come up and share.
Are the numbers that we
What
know
the
of.
fuck is this doing?
Yes, and those.
There are others that we don't know of.
Yeah, those are the
That
numbers
get
that we
swept
know.
under the rug.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that and bring that to the conversation. That those are the things happening behind closed doors that we know of. There's, of course, that CPOT episode that we couldn't even watch in the United States because of, I think it was Larry Ellison, right? The guy that blocked on CBS, if I have it right.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, just wanted to add that to the discussion today.
Yeah, Sherry, I don't know what happened. I hit for you to come up. Appreciate you. Cam, can somebody fucking bring Sherry, please? Sherry, request again, and somebody else can bring you up. Very wise. No, she didn't run, Linda. Sherry's never ran. Hey, Sherry.
Hi.
Okay. So you said save it, Dani. Save what?
The racial stuff. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but the thing is that if we don't have respect for our law enforcement, then you don't have any rights here at all.
No, that's not true, actually. The law doesn't. Hold on, Mad Skull. Sherry, that's not the law. The law doesn't say I have to respect law enforcement or I don't have any rights. That's not the Constitution.
No, but it is out of respect.
No, I don't have to. I have to respect the law.
You don't want their help. You don't want their help when you have an emergency.
Listen, law enforcement. Let me finish, Sherry. Let me respond to you. Number one, ICE is not law enforcement. That's number one. ICE does not come help people. Sherry, let me finish. Let me finish. ICE does not come help anybody. If there's a fire, if there's a problem, if there's a wreck, nobody's calling 911 and getting ICE. ICE is not law enforcement. That's number one. Number two, a police officer's willingness to do their job, which is to serve and protect, is not contingent and should not be contingent upon whether or not the people they are going to serve and protect like them or respect them. So the same way as me being in the military, Sherry, when I signed up on the dotted line to serve and protect my country, I didn't say I'm not going to serve and protect bigots. I didn't say I'm not going to serve and protect racists. I didn't say I'm not going to serve and protect homophobics or transphobics. I didn't say, oh, I'm only going to fight for the people who respect me. I didn't say I'm only willing to defend the country, but not the people that called me nigger when I was in school. Right? Because my willingness to serve the country isn't about whether or not the people that I'm serving liking me or respecting me. Your respect is not required for me to do my job. And if there is somebody in law enforcement who believes that they have to get something from people in order to do their job, they do not deserve to be public servants.
No, they need to learn to listen.
No, they need to not be in law enforcement. Period.
You can listen to basic instructions.
Sherry, hold on, Matt Skull. You gotta let me. Sherry and I know each other.
The grain on everything.
Sherry.
Why is that, Dani?
Why is what?
That you choose to go against the grain on everything.
Give me an example. Choose to go against the grain on what?
Just right now, even just law enforcement. You can't accept the fact that people are there to do a job and you can't support them.
No, that's not true. Sherry, that's not true. That's not true. I support when law enforcement is there to do their legal job. I do not support law enforcement that kill a civilian without cause.
And she should have listened to her instructions.
It doesn't matter. She's not supposed to be dead. I don't give a damn. Sherry, you have, okay, Sherry, do we shoot our children when they disobey? Do we shoot our children when they disobey? Do we shoot our children when they don't listen?
No.
Then why the fuck are the police shooting people for not listening?
Because there's too many people out there that are choosing not to.
No, ma'am. Not listening is not justification for being unalived. No, Sherry, you don't get to kill me because I don't listen to you.
Good.
Cops don't get to kill people because they don't listen. That's not in the Constitution, Sherry. The Constitution doesn't say officers get to kill people that don't listen.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's what you just said.
No, I did not. I did not.
Can I get a talk?
No, you got to give me a second, Mad Skull.
You've said enough already, sweetheart.
Hold on, Sherry. You don't determine if he gets to speak. I do.
Good.
Yeah, and I will. You don't speak to him and don't call him sweetheart. Do you see how what you just did?
I got to listen to him talk to me.
But no, he wasn't speaking to you. And when he went to address you, I told him to hush. So when he goes to address you, I don't need you to tell him anything.
I didn't get to hear that part. I got disconnected, so I didn't realize you did that.
Even when you got on the panel. And you don't say, no, I had to listen to you enough. No, you didn't. If you didn't want to listen to him, you could have left. Exactly.
I was
So,
trying to come to the panel.
but the point of the matter is, Sherry.
That's the only reason why I stayed.
Sherry, this is the thing. Your viewpoint that she was told to stay what does that mean about the ICE agent killing her? Did he have the right to kill her, yes or no?
No.
So what are you mad about?
That she could have saved her own life if she would have listened.
No, I know a lot of black people that listened and still got killed.
I did.
I know. Hold on. Y'all gotta please wait. I know black and brown people that listen to police officers that die all the fucking time. Listening to police doesn't mean you get to live. Police Browder, Sherry. Listening to police does not mean you get to live. Have you ever watched the video of Philando Castile, Sherry? Philando Castile sat in his car with his baby girl in the back seat and his girlfriend next to him. And he said to the officers, Philando Castile, by the way, worked in an elementary school in the cafeteria. The kids loved him. And he said to the officer when he got pulled over, listen, I have a permit to carry. My weapon is down here. He told them. They ask him to get it. He reaches, they fucking murdered him in front of his girlfriend and his children. They murdered him in front of his girlfriend and his children when he listened.
There are mistakes that are...
No, it is not a mistake, Sherry. You do not mistakenly shoot people. You do not mistakenly shoot someone who does the thing you tell them to do. That's not a mistake. It is not a mistake. And mistakes don't happen all the time and largely to just black and brown people. And if you don't like that statistic, Sherry, fine, you don't like it. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter if you don't like it because it's true. If you look at the evidence, the numbers, the facts show exactly what I'm talking about. White people don't get mistakenly shot by police officers and killed at the rate that black people do. That's just a fucking fact. I'm not sitting up here telling people don't listen to cops. I'm not sitting up here telling people that cops don't have the right to do their jobs and that when they're doing their jobs legally, they shouldn't do them. That's not what I said, Sherry. What I said, Sherry, was real simple, is you don't get to kill people.
You have not shown any respect when it comes to law enforcement.
Why should I respect the law officer that I just watched kill a woman?
But you want it both ways.
No, there is no both ways. What I want is one way. I want officers to do their jobs legally, and I want them to not kill people who simply don't listen. That's the way I want it. I want it legal.
It starts with respect.
No, it doesn't start with respect, Sherry. I know plenty of black people.
I respect you.
For fuck's sake, Sherry. Yeah, you respect me, Sherry, because we had a one-on-one conversation and you know me. That's where your respect comes from. That's it. That's where it comes from, because there's a relationship after an exchange that we had. That's where it comes from.
I appreciate your outlook on things, and you've taught me a lot of decent stuff.
Yeah, so why don't you... So, Sherry, let me ask you this. In all the time that you've been with me in this platform since our conversation, am I someone that arbitrarily doesn't like facts?
No, but there is a grudge that you...
Hold on. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a grudge. Let me be clear about what a grudge is and what a grudge isn't, Sherry. A grudge is me saying, oh, someone did me wrong, and so I'm holding that against them. That's a grudge. I don't hold that grudge to all law enforcement. Even in my conversation today, I have made distinctions about some of the bad apples that are police officers. In my conversation today, I have not said that all law enforcement do A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. I haven't done that today. That's your hearing, not my speaking. What I have said is that there are far too many people in law enforcement that are in it for the wrong reasons. And we're not even talking about, because ICE is not law enforcement at all. They are not law enforcement. They do not have the same... ICE...
reason why you should listen.
ICE does not have the constitutional authority or the legal authority that law enforcement does. They are not the same. And listening does not mean living, and not listening does not mean I deserve to die. And the bottom line is, hold on, I just need to put a pause for 1 second, Sherry. I'm going to say this. I'm giving everyone in this room a trigger warning right now in this moment. I'm giving everyone a trigger warning. If you cannot handle video, you feel free to step away and then come back. Hold on, Sherry. This is my trigger warning to absolutely everybody in the room. Dip if you can't take it, because I do not intend to traumatize anyone.
Reason I pulled you over, your brake lights are out, so you only have one active.
The reason I pulled you over is because your brake lights are out.
Brake light, and that's going to be your passenger side one, your third brake light, which is up here on top, and then this one back here.
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
He said, I'm not pulling it out. I'm telling you that I have it. Hold on, let me unlock my door. He said, I'm not pulling it out. Sir, I just need to tell you that I have a firearm on me. I was live by the time you messaged me. Tell me how that was a mistake, Sherry.
Oh no, there's no justification of that.
Mm-hmm. But he listened, right?
No, he didn't. He said not to reach for
And
it.
he didn't. And he didn't. And he said, I'm not. He didn't. He said, I'm not. He said, okay, don't reach for it. He says, I'm not.
Don't pull it out.
Don't pull it out. Pulling it out. Did you hear that? He said, sir, I have to tell you, I have a firearm on me. He said, okay, don't pull it out. He said, I'm not. Listen, I'm not.
Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out. Don't move.
He's covered. He killed my boyfriend. He's licensed. He's licensed to carry. He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
He was in front of his children, in front of his girlfriend. I am so sick of people saying, you should just listen. He did listen. He said in advance, I have a firearm. I want you to know that. I'm not reaching for it. They asked him to get his wallet, to get his ID, to show him his driver's license. His little girl was in the back seat.
No, there's nothing right about that at all.
So don't tell black and brown people, Sherry, that people should just listen. Because Philando Castile, you gotta let me finish, Sherry. I can show you video after video after video after video after fucking video of black and brown people listening and dying. This ain't just the only one. I can pull up a bunch for you. Listening to police and living is not a guaranteed fucking fact for black and brown people.
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
No, I don't feel that way. That's a fact. I don't feel that way. That's a fact.
And that's a choice.
No, it's a fact. It's a choice by police officers to kill black and brown people. That's not my feeling, Sherry. That's a fact. The rate of black and brown people killed by police compared to white people. Tons of facts and tons of them.
What happened to
Black and brown people are killed by police at significantly higher rates, approximately 2.9 times more likely to be killed by police than white Americans. And Hispanics are 1.3 times more likely. That is not my opinion. That's a fact. That's the data. So when I walk out my front door, if I get pulled over by the cops, I'm 3 times more likely to die, Sherry, than you are, no matter what I do. When I walk out my front door and I get pulled over by the police, I am 3 times more likely to die than you are, Sherry. Do you want to know how fast my heart beats when a cop is behind me? Even when I'm driving legally?
Me too.
No, ma'am, not you two.
Oh yes, you can't tell me what my feelings
Oh
are.
no, you can. Your heart can palpitate, but it ain't for the reason mine is. It ain't for the reason mine is. You're nervous. You're gonna get a ticket. You're nervous. You might have to pay a big fine. You're not nervous. You're about to die. You're not nervous that somebody might shoot you in front of your grandchildren in the back. I am.
That's not fair.
No, that's fact. And yes, you're right. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to me that just walking out the door, I'm 3 times more likely to die by the people that are supposed to protect and serve me than you are. You're right. That's not fair. But it is a fact. But it is a fact, Sherry.
So how is it supposed to change, Dani? Because we keep making all of this a color thing, and
no, we're not making it a color thing. Sherry, listen.
It should be a people thing.
But Sherry, I'm not making it a color thing. By me pointing out that color plays a role is not me making it a color thing. It's me pointing out that it is a color thing, not because I choose for it to be, but because that is what it is. That's the fact. Like, I'm not making it a color thing. I would love for it to not be a color thing. But I don't get to choose that. If black and brown people could stop police from killing us, we would have been done did that. So when you ask me, how do we change it? Number one, we start to change it by not being defensive to the truth and dismissing the facts.
And not running.
Listen, Sherry, I'm not talking about people with police. I'm talking about how do we change it? 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 So number one, you cannot change something that you do not acknowledge. So until white people can accept the fact that black and brown people die at the hands of police 3 times more often than white people, nothing changes. Because you cannot change what you do not acknowledge and accept to be fact. So that would be the very first step, is for people to stop trying to blame black and brown people for what happens. What the very first step is acknowledging that, yep, black people are dying 3 times more often than white people at the hands of police. That's step 1. Step 2 is looking further into that data and understanding that there is no commonality or rationale. That statistic holds true whether they listen, whether they comply, whether they run, whether they don't run. That statistic holds true. So that's the me. I drew all the artwork behind me, guys. So when you say, how do we make it different? That's the first thing. And Sherry, here's what I would offer to you. When you say to people, just listen, don't run, you are dehumanizing and devaluing the lives of black and brown people. Because what you are saying is, hold on, Sherry.
You're not putting that stuff in my head.
No, Sherry, I'm not putting shit in your head. I'm listening to what you say. When you say don't run as a condition for living.
No, it is a request by an officer that you.
But you're saying that's the condition for living. If you want to live, just don't run. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Sherry, it does not matter if someone listens, runs, or does not. They deserve to live.
Yes.
Unless that person is attempting to take the life of the officer does not have the right to take their life. So that means we get to stop talking about listening. We get to stop talking about respect. We get to stop talking about running away. Because none of those 3 things, not listening, not being respectful, and running away, is not trying to unalive the officer. And unless someone is trying to unalive the officer or unalive someone else, they have the right to live, and the officer does not have the right to take their life. So when a conversation comes up about black and brown people or anybody else dying at the hands of police, what we don't need to bring up is respect, listening, or running away.
No, because that's what they're wanting from you, and you don't want to do that.
It doesn't fucking matter if I don't want to do that. I don't deserve to die.
Well, why do you think that they have the attitude that
they don't have? I don't give a fuck. They can have an attitude. They don't have the right to kill me. I don't give a shit if you got an attitude. Have an attitude. I don't care. You don't have the right to take your attitude and kill me. I'm a whole ass human being. I'm a whole ass human being. And I have the right to live even if I don't fucking like you. I have the right to live if I disrespect you. If I'm not trying to kill you, you don't get to kill me. It ain't that fucking hard.
It's not right, and I understand it's not right. May I say something?
Nope,
Rain?
nope. I need y'all to just let me do this work, and then Michelle, I promise I'm gonna get to you.
And I need to understand and feel what you feel.
Yeah, because you can tell I'm feeling a whole lot, right?
I can feel it.
Okay, good. Saying to people, well, you're disrespectful, that's why they kill you, is crazy talk. That's just crazy work. It's crazy work on a whole nother level. Well, you disrespect them, so they're mad at you. I give a good damn. Be mad at me, but you don't get to kill me. You don't get to kill me. And if someone truly signed up to be a police officer, to serve and protect, which that's the job, they shouldn't want to kill me. The only time a police officer should want to kill somebody is if they are literally defending the lives of themselves or someone else. That's it. Other than that, you running? Cool. I'll catch you back around the way. You running? I know how to look you up in the database and find your address and find your known associates and know where you go to work and know where you go to school. That's the job. You don't get to kill me because it's inconvenient that someone ran. When you talk to people about being killed by police and you bring up being respectful and being nice, you're literally disrespecting me as if the value of a Black life doesn't matter. That's where the whole phrase came from, Sherry. The whole phrase, Black Lives Matter. Not the organization, but the whole phrase came from Black people trying to get you to understand that our lives matter. Our lives matter too. Our lives they matter just as much as white lives matter.
I don't feel any differently.
Here's what I'm saying, Sherry. You might not feel any differently, right? And there are ideologies and thought processes that you have grown up on, that you have known your whole life, that perpetuate and that support a system that says our lives don't matter. Like thinking,
I wasn't raised that way.
No. I'm not talking about overt racism, Sherry. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not talking about, I'm good with tiki torches and white sheets and crosses burning. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that very nuanced thing that happens. I can remember being in Missouri with my uncles. They live in a small town, less than 6,000 people. And I can remember one of them referring to, oh, that's whatever his name was, Henry, whatever. He's a good Negro. What's that? What the fuck is a good Negro? What is that exactly? Right? Sherry, this is a country, and I'm gonna share this with you. This was like one of the most heartbreaking things ever for me to really realize. There's a documentary by the name of 13th. You can watch it free on YouTube. You can also watch it on Netflix. And when I watched it in 2016, when it first came out, I had so many emotions. There were times in that film where I was so angry. I was so frustrated. I was so hurt. Because it laid out historically all of the facts and the evidence about how the country that I served, the country that my father served, my mother served, my brothers served intentionally. And that's the part that gets me, is that they intentionally worked to develop a system to hurt Black and brown people for their money, for their economy. Right? So like my daddy came home from Vietnam, not when Black soldiers came home, they didn't get to use their GI bills to buy homes. They didn't get approved for those loans. They served in the same war that white soldiers did, but they didn't get to do that. The United States of America, this big booming economy that we've had, was built on the backs of free labor. That free labor was the enslavement of Black and brown people. You had a whole country where you could own Black and brown people, and legally they were defined as property. Legally, that's where the 3/5 compromise comes in. Because we weren't even to this country, we weren't even a whole human being. We're not a person, we were property. And when it became illegal in this country to own Black and brown people and to use them for free labor, they had to figure out a way to replace that system. And they did. They made a for-profit prison system. They made a for-profit prison system. And that's why the 13th Amendment never got rid of slavery. The 13th Amendment says it is illegal to own someone as a slave except as punishment for a crime. And it didn't say except as punishment for a felony, except as punishment for murder, except as punishment for, nope, it just said except as punishment for a crime. And then they proceeded to make a lot of new laws. Those are called Jim Crow laws. And they used them to lock Black and brown people up. Why? Because we needed free labor. If you've never looked at how much labor is done in the prisons, you should. They do telemarketing calls from prison. They make underwear and shit in prison. They make license plates in prison. I mean, there's a lot. The prison system is a booming industry. So imagine, Sherry, in 2016, I'm sitting at home and I'm watching this documentary. And I am seeing people like Newt Gingrich in it. And Newt Gingrich is admitting to the intentional system that's been created in this country. He's admitting, yep, this is what we did. You know what it feels like to want so very much to love the country that you're in, but to know that your country does not love you? That your country has never loved you, has never loved people that look like you. It has only loved you for what you can give it. My country has never loved me. Never. And I get to walk around and know that my whole life. You ought to see the look on Dominic's face. He's 12, Sherry. My grandchildren are multiracial. I'm biracial. They're part Hispanic. You should have seen me having to talk to him about ICE. And his Tia and his Tio having to stay home from work, even though they're legal citizens. You should have seen his face. He's so angry. And he has a right to be angry because his family is being terrorized because of the color of their skin. Why shouldn't he be angry? Why should he respect people that are targeting him and people who look like him? Why? Why do they deserve respect for terrorizing Black and brown people?
Well, because the hate isn't healthy.
So what? You want me to not hate my oppressor?
No, I'm just
Right.
saying.
So,
Yeah,
but don't put it on us.
No,
Don't.
I'm not trying to do that.
But
That's
listen,
not
but Sherry. So when you say it, but listen. So there's no. If you don't want us to feel the way we feel, then don't do what you do to us. And I'm not saying you.
I understand what you're saying.
Right. So see, you're still coming at it. You're still coming at it from like, well, what you're doing in response to this thing isn't helpful. And you have to understand that.
I'm trying to understand, I guess.
I know, but so follow me.
Okay.
The response to what's being done to me. So all of us have been in bad relationships, or we've had arguments with our friends and our loved ones, right?
Right.
You know anybody that's ever been in a domestic violence situation?
Yeah.
Okay. So when she fights back, do we tell her that's not helping?
No.
If she has an attitude about being beaten, or if she has an attitude about being mistreated, do we tell her, oh, well, you being snippy isn't helpful? Do we tell her you shouldn't have an attitude even though you're being abused?
No.
Right. So we shouldn't tell Black and brown people that their attitudes aren't helpful.
Oh, I wasn't trying to imply that it wasn't helpful. I'm sad that it has to be there.
Yeah,
it's not. That's what I meant by it.
Okay. So, and here's what I'm saying, right? Is that the only way it comes from not being there is more and more white people have to be able to dig in and accept really cold hard truths. The same way that I had to have my heart broken when I realized what my country is the same way you need to have your heart broken. Because it's not the country that you want it to be. It's not the country I want it to be. It's not. So get real.
No, it's gotten really scary.
No, it's always been scary. It's just gotten scary for you, Sherry. It's been scary for Black and brown people our whole fucking the whole time we've been here. It ain't never not been scary. It's been scary. It's been scary. And so this is what I'm saying is that the way that we change it is by having a real come to Jesus moment with who we are and what it is and how it got to be this way. And that means it's going to be really uncomfortable.
Right.
It's going to be really, and listen, I don't think that people should run from police. I just also think that if they run, they shouldn't be killed.
I understand.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I sit. I'm always going to sit on the side of human beings, always on the side of humanity, always on the side of what is right by people. People don't deserve to die for running. People don't deserve to die for being disrespectful. They just don't. And so it's just really, really important that when we have these conversations. So Sherry, you remember me talking about when I went to Standing Rock and I was on the reservation with the Native Americans. And they were talking about one of the things that they asked of us was to be indigenous centered, which means before we speak on something or before we ask for something or before we ask an elder for advice or ask to touch a braided hair or to touch a bag, they asked us to think about what it's like to be them, right? I try to take that as much as I can every day into every conversation. So if I'm talking to someone that is a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I want to try to be them centered. Like I want to try to put myself completely in what it is like to be them. If I'm talking about, if I'm talking to people who are immigrants, I want to be immigrant centered in that moment. And what must it be like when you enter into spaces and conversations like you're in right now with me? Do you know one of the reasons I brought up my grandkids, Sherry? Because I know you love family. I know you do. I know you do. You and I have that in common, right? And so when I talk about how these things impact my grandchildren, I know you are going to hear me. And for even in that moment, you're gonna know what it feels like to be me. And what I want you to do is whenever you feel like that frustration and that defensiveness, try it on for a second, because there's a reason I'm having that reaction, right? That's how we do the work. And the one thing that I've always appreciated from you is that no matter how far apart we start, you're willing to sit in really hard conversations in order to get the understanding. And that's why I'm always willing to talk to you. Always.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I know, and I appreciate you. I just want you to hear me when I say this. The one thing that I would ask of you, sincerely, is to go on either YouTube or Netflix and watch the documentary 13th. It's 13th. And when you watch it, just imagine how I felt watching it. I've now watched it multiple times. The numbers are astounding. I don't know how to appropriately convey what it feels like to feel like the country that you're in doesn't love you. And oftentimes doesn't even like you unless you can do something for it. To be transactional, to be appreciated, to be transactional, to be valued. It's crazy. I'm not of value just in my existence. You know? And and when you say to me, how do we change it? It is these conversations. It is these very hard, very tough, very emotional conversations. This is how we change it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate you, Sherry.
I appreciate you too.
I know. All right. Okay. Deep breaths, everybody. Deep breaths. When I talk about the work, when I talk about how we address what's happening in politics, when I talk about how we change things, this is the part. This is how we do it. And then what happens from here is you take this conversation and then you share it. And then you tell other people, holy crap, I was in this conversation and this is the thing that happened.
I definitely have a lot better understanding. I do.
I know you do. I can always feel when you shift. I can always feel when you shift. And sometimes when I say things the way I say them, I know it's going to be tough for people to hear. I got it, Scotty. Thank you. Right. I know it. And I also know that it's in the discomfort where we can grow and where we can move. That's where it has to happen. You know, I always just think if we could take what happens in this space and amplify it. I'm like, God, what if this conversation was happening in every room on TikTok? What could we do? What could we change? What could we build? We could do a whole lot. We could do a whole lot. Right, invisible string, the world would shift.
Yeah.
The world would shift. But instead, people want to argue about all the Democrats do this and all the Republicans do this. It is not about those. It is not about the party. It's about us. It's about us. It's about we the people. The ripple effect would change everything. It sure would. It would change everything. And for me, that's the fight for me. For me, that's the reason to be here. For me, that's the reason to do this work. You know, at the beginning of this live, somebody said, oh, but all the arguing will push you out of the algorithm. And I said, I don't want all that to push me out, because what I don't want to attract is more bickering and arguing. And nope, what I want to attract are people that are willing to have really hard conversations and stick in them until we get to the other side, even if the other side isn't full agreement. The thing that I'm always striving for is understanding. Because when we have understanding, we're in a place to do something. We're in a place to do something and do something good. Michelle, honey, I know I cut you off so hard. But it was because, you know, I've done work with Sherry before, and I just needed to stick with her until we got to the other side.
You're good. All good.
So, okay. Can I ask, because I really need a second.
A commercial break?
Yep.
All right, guys, let's tap.
You're right back.
And let's fulfill her gift goals while she's gone. If you're not a subscriber to Dani, you can subscribe through TikTok, or you can subscribe directly to her. She has those links in her bio. I know we all are appreciative for everything that she does. And if you will just please show her some love, be patient with each other, obey the rules, listen to Sandy, and we'll continue to have a great live.
I'm gonna get water real quick and I'll be right back.
I know that this has felt emotional, but I also am always amazed when we sit here and watch what Dani's able to do. And I'm truly in awe of how she is able to do that. And I'm so glad that I've become a member of this community, because I think it only makes us better.
Tighten, don't trip me.
Let's tap. Let's see if we can get to 700,000 by 145.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Okay. What's up, Audra? Can I get Cam or somebody to make sure that we get Audra into Discord? She was gifted a platinum subscription, And I just want to make sure that she gets into the Discord and that she gets assigned platinum so she has access to everything that she needs to have access to. Okay. All right. So let me say this. I know there's like 600 people in the room, and TikTok is going to be like, don't you want to stay on? No, Titan. I don't know. I got you, Blue Honey Pie. I got you. I know Jen the Vet. I know you've been hanging out for a minute. Did you still want to pop in and say something?
At this point, I think it's moot. I love you.
I love you back.
I'm with you.
I know.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Appreciate you. Okay. Titan, no. Titan, no. I don't know why my cat likes to try to get into. He is an emotional support cat. The judge denied a mistrial in the Uvalde PO case. Yeah, I know Brett Cross has been on talking about the case. I know y'all hear him back there. Appreciate you, Veronica. He's my baby. Come on. I know it. Come on. Oh, I've never seen the pumpkin carriage. Okay, I got you, Aura. Come on. He's looking at me now. Come on. He's trying to get up here. Give me 1 second, guys. Come on. Okay. Love you minutes, Zinyaya. Appreciate you, Cheryl, for the whale. I know. He's amazing. Come on. Okay, so can we send everyone there when you end your live to give Brett support? He needs to feel the love. Yeah, Rescue Squad, we can do that. I honestly don't have it in me to go over absolutely everything that's on here today. But here he comes. He just jumped up the other way. Come on, Titan. Come on. He's something else. So let me, a couple of things. One of the things that I did want everybody to know is that they are setting up a vote in the House on the ACA healthcare subsidies. For any of you all that purchase your healthcare from the ACA marketplace, right? You want to be watching this. It looks like the House is gonna pass it. The Senate is kind of holding things back. Appreciate you, Farah. And the Senate is offering, they want to do a compromise. They only want to extend the ACA tax, the subsidies for 2 years instead of 3. And Trump is saying that he wants that money to go directly to the people. And thank you, Leah. I want to share with you all why that sounds good, but isn't good for everybody. So let's just say the average subsidy for everybody. Appreciate you, Veronica. Let's say the average, it averages out to $500 or $2,000 or $3,000. Let's just say that it averages out to that. The reality is that some people, yeah, Shimmy, I'm good. Just a really, really intense live. That's all. Is that you might not be able to get what you need to make it happen, right? It's not enough to cover you, and it's not enough to cover everybody. And people with pre-existing conditions will suffer. And so the thing about this is we have to understand, you all, that the only way that this works, thank you, Shell Bell, is if we develop systems and policies that work for everybody, right? That's the way that it works. Thank you, Glowing Over 40. I can tell you right now, if I wasn't a disabled veteran and we didn't have the ACA marketplace, I would not be able to get health insurance, right? I was diagnosed with Graves' disease. Once you're diagnosed with Graves, you don't get to get health insurance. Pre-existing conditions, you're done. And if you think about all of the people that have different types of pre-existing conditions, a lot of people, for some insurance plans, it was pregnancy. Pregnancy was a pre-existing condition, right? For those of y'all who are too young to remember those days, you didn't get insurance if you had endometriosis, if you had an abnormal pap smear before and you had to have like a coloscopy, or if you had to have any of those things. Yep, migraines can be pre-existing conditions. Yeah, you have Addison's. Think about the people that have fibromyalgia, MS, all of those things, folks. It just puts people at risk. And as amazing as AI is not better than human beings.
You see, that thing with health insurance, healthcare with pre-existing, it's a messed up thing, because then most of us, we do suffer a lot because of it. For example, I'm a chronic asthmatic.
Okay.
I can't be around certain chemicals. For one, I've had 2 strokes already. Bear in mind, I'm turning 31 next week.
Oh my
Saturday.
gosh.
I've had 2 strokes already.
Wow.
Leading to permanent nerve damage on the right side of my face. And right now, for me, in the little island where I live, it's extremely hard for me to have insurance or to get insurance. And I'm someone that I have to be at the hospital regularly, because I also am diagnosed with GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Yep, I'm familiar with GERD.
Plus, I have a hypermobility of all my joints.
Yeah.
So I'm likely to tear a tendon quicker than the regular person.
Yeah.
And every time when I'm working with a company and they look at my existing medical history, they're like, why do you have so much things? Why do you have to be on medication like this? We can't cover this. You're going to have to cover most of this. It's coming out of your pay. And I'm like, I can't help that I have these existing conditions. It wasn't my choice to have them.
Right.
And a lot of people, it suffers. So if they're going to limit that and say, oh, they're going to deny you because of pre-existing medical conditions, more than a third or 2/3 of the society is going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Can't get their medications, can't function as they want to, because it's just so hard.
I want to throw this out there to you all. So you'll hear people talk about they don't care about human beings anymore because they have AI to replace human beings for jobs and this, that, and the other. Here's what I want to say to you is don't, oh, that's cute, Aeronautical. Appreciate you. Don't fall into the fear mongering and all of the dystopian whatever, right? What I'm going to say did I run out of paper? I did. What I'm going to say to you is that we are going to have what we create. There's never going to be a time where human beings won't be needed, necessary, and all the things. And I think it's important that while we stay aware and plugged in, thank you, Evelyn. Appreciate you for being here. Of the thing that's going, of all the things that are going on, there's a difference between staying aware. So I wanted you all to be aware that there's a vote taking place. I wanted you to be aware that that now is a good time for you to contact your legislators. Now is a great time for writing letters to the editor. Now is a great time for, if you call your elected officials, ask them to record the call. If you call your elected, or if you email them, get those asks specifically for a response, post that online, right? Tag them in your social media post. This is where we become very intentional about how we create not just the country, but the world that we want to live in. Okay. So I want you to stay aware of things. I just don't want you all to be smothered and down deep in things. Okay. Don't spend the rest of your day watching the video over and over and over again, or going into 1,100 lives where they're talking about all of it. Right. Oh, Sandy, I've never seen that one. That's super cute. Right. I just want you all to be mindful of staying grounded and staying centered, and not caught up in the whole negative whatever. It's just really important. I absolutely 100% with all of my being believe that we as people have the ability to create the community and society that we want and that we deserve to have. It's going to require us doing big work on us, individuals, right? And then not being ashamed. So listen, if you learn something, if you have an epiphany, if something shifts, don't spend your days thinking, oh, I wish I'd known that sooner. Or God, I feel bad because don't do that to you. Don't do that to yourself. You are growing and doing the best you can based on who you are and what you know. Once you know it, great. So once you know it, then know it, and then you can master it. Okay? And that's the part that takes practice. I'm just going to be real honest. I am discombobulated because today was heavy, and I did not go into this live today thinking it was going to be this heavy. And I'm actually going to take advantage of the fact that the girls are having a spa day with their mama. So they're getting their nails painted and things. And so I'm actually going to take out my trash and just breathe for a minute. I need to go outside and get some fresh air. All right. Appreciate you, Aeronautical. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, Carla, I'm just going to save the banner for tomorrow. The other images that were in the banner today, one was about the ACA subsidies. I do want you all to know that that's happening. The vote is happening. I also want you all to, really, the vast majority of us are good and have empathy and compassion. And a lot of people that you don't see it on the outside, it's there. It's just buried under disappointment and hurt and trauma. Thanks, Keep the Laugh. You hear me? It's there. And we just gotta help people unpack it. Okay? Like, seriously, that's the work. So I appreciate everybody for liking and sharing, participating. Sherry, this is why you're one of my favorite non-traditional progressives. Because here's what I know about you. In your heart, the way that you think about people, Sherry, you actually like progressive policy. It's just the matter of figuring it all out because you love people. That I know. It's just the work and it's just the unpacking. And so I really appreciate you for hanging in and doing work with me. Love you back. Love you back. Folks, make sure that you go up there and claim your points on TikTok. Click your heart, claim your points before we go. I 100%, as y'all can tell, I'm just like, oh. So I'm going to take out my trash, breathe some fresh air. And I bought myself some pine nut hummus today. So I think I'm going to come back in and kick my feet up for a minute. And actually what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do some art. That's what I think I'm going to do. I think I might paint and draw today. That's what I think. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So love you, mean it. Thank you all for following, all the new folks that are here. I appreciate you for being in here and doing this work with me. Make sure that you join my Discord, follow me across the platforms, and make sure that you're listening to the podcast. Okay. Appreciate you all very, very much. Love you, mean it. I'm out of here. Peace. Bye, guys.